And now every little arraignment, every little fucking, they just blow it up.
Yeah.
Do you wear the mic anymore?
I clip it
On the microphone?
on my microphone. I stopped wearing it like after the first couple of weeks. And what I do is I'll clip it right here underneath.
Yeah.
And just leave it on
And
there.
it adds to that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there's something bottom here? I'm tired of being caught.
Just open it and just clip it like.
I've been caught.
I even do it like this.
Because I've been caught saying some stuff that I should not have been. I forget the one that I heard at the top of the show. I think it was. I don't know what it was. Oh my God. It was bad too. It was bad. I forget what we were talking about.
Yeah, I just leave a clip there so I know once I walk out of this room.
Yes.
I'm good.
That's what I gotta do.
Though she remains in critical condition, wildlife authorities say she is getting the best treatment, even having had a blood transfusion from another eagle, and that may be one of the rarest medical procedures for any bald eagle. Though her recovery is not guaranteed, she is doing better. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour, and when it breaks on Newstalk 96.1 at AM 1230. KERN.
To the rest of the month from now, I will big shots gonna give you what you want. So late, I shoot in a week. I'm gonna wait in my office again.
Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1. AM 1230. KERN.
I see the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know the night that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at KERNradio.com. We got a busy broadcast. Teresa Goldner has returned to the fold. We'll speak with her via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network at the bottom of the hour. It's a Tuesday, so Howard Marcus will join us as well. And then coming up in the 5, we're going to talk to our friend Jenny Voisin. She is with the Big Bear Valley Foundation, which is a foundation that has been taking care of Jackie and Shadow. And as we talked, excuse me, with the folks from CALM, the folks from the California Living Museum has had an impact on Jackie's health. I'll explain in just a second. Well, I'll explain now. Jackie is the mate of Shadow, and for several years now, the Big Bear Valley Foundation has had a camera in the nest of these two, and we've watched, we being classes in public schools, just folks interested, local television stations. I know KTLA and KGT, and I bet most of the local stations here monitor the progress of their different children or different eaglets. And we saw a crow destroy 2 of their eggs about a year ago, and now we're watching their most recent clutch, as they are referred to, get up on their feet, literally and figuratively, as they start to fly away from the nest. And then Jackie was attacked by another eagle. Now, there are some reports, and this is why we're going to talk with Jenny Voisin in the 5. There were some published reports that Jackie was ill before the attack, but after the attack, they used the bald eagle here at CALM to give her blood transfusions, trying to get her up on her feet. She's a little bit better, but we'll get the latest from Jenny Voisin. And Kyle Shanahan has come out and disputed police reports. I was about to go on the air and absolutely lie until I talked to Randy, because didn't you hear the initial report was that it was not? Let me start with Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, was in a horrible car accident and was pretty badly injured.
Mm.
But didn't you read that initially that it was not his fault, that he was on a phone, but it was not his fault? Now Randy tells me that he's come out and stated he dropped the phone, went to go pick it up, and looked up and bashed into somebody.
Big dummy.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand people like that. I really, really don't. That is just about as dumb as it gets. And now one of his friends, Chris Mims, has come out and said that he almost lost an eye. He suffered a concussion. He's got broken ribs and several broken bones. But he came out and said it was his fault, which is interesting. I mean, I guess you can't deny the truth, but that was very contrary to initial police reports. We'll get into that. The Board of Supervisors are going to get a look at the work that San Diego group was called in to do to consult with Child Protective Services. That will be interesting. I think you all know that I've been banging this thing for a while, that Lito Murillo has to go, and there has to be a massive shakeup of DHS and a massive reexamination at how they do this. Community members are talking about systematic inefficiencies, whether it's burnout, whether it's understaffing, whatever it is, there has to be a change. There has to be a change. And of course, this is all in the wake of the death of Genesis Mata, the 8-year-old girl who was tortured in a bathtub in a local hotel. Her father finally punched her in the stomach, that they say was kind of the death blow. They had boiling water on this girl. And this was after 20 school officials and mandated reporters contacted Child Protective Services and warned them of what was going on. CPS had an open investigation into Mata, and yet somehow the child ended up dying. That can't happen. Like, abuse occurs, and if you're not involved, what can you do? But when mandated reporters and teachers say she's missing school, she's coming home with bruises, bells and whistles and all kind of alarms should go off. And the immediate investigation should be, should we remove this child? And from early reports, you should be halfway on your way to removing that child. Unless you somehow believe that these 20 reports are falsified, which is stupid. I mean, this was coming from the school. This wasn't coming from a neighbor who might have been jealous and didn't like the parents. Or this came from objective people who were just looking out for this 8-year-old girl, which is exactly what DHS and Child Protective Services were not doing, looking out for this young girl. And as I've stated repeatedly and repeatedly, and I will continue to repeat, there is a lawsuit pending. And the county is going to write them a very, very large check. Murillo has to go. Or make him pay for it then. Keep him. He can keep his job, but you got to settle the lawsuit, sir. How about that? I like that. I like that a lot. I just came up with that. That was brilliant on my part. They can pay for it. You can do it on installments. We don't mind. They can pay for it. The guy that came on this show and gave his department an A. Yeah, I like that settlement. Make the head of the DHS pay for it. And then it calls into question, what's the role of supervisors? Like when we gave this group that came up here from San Diego and said that we're on par with national and state statistics, what the hell does that mean? Maybe national and state statistics aren't that good. And what did they do for this $411,000? Do the supervisors know? Were they here 3 days a week? Were they here 5 days a week? Did they show up on Fridays and that was about it? What did they do? How many hours did they put in after we handed them a check of almost $500,000? I don't give a damn if it came out of the general fund. I don't care. We gave them $411,000. That's what I know. Sorry, I'm very upset about this whole situation, as you can tell. Meantime, Dr. Anthony Fauci is on the hot seat, as well he should. You know, it's a really tough time for me, COVID, a very tough time for me, because I was pro-vax in a very anti-vax community. And I mean, it was a very difficult time. And I believed in Dr. Fauci. I really did. I thought he was objective. I thought he was a scientist. As most of you know, I grew up with a physician for 22 years. So I mean, it's just how could I grow up not being pro-vax? How's that possible? Growing up with a physician, you know what I'm saying? And I took a beating. I took a harsh beating. But now it turns out that perhaps Dr. Fauci got caught up in the limelight. Rand Paul, senator from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, has released 1,100 pages of Dr. Anthony's diary. How he got it, nobody knows. And Paul's not talking about it. But it paints a picture of a guy who truly started believing his press clippings. He makes references to meeting Barbara Streisand and Julia Roberts and Joan Baez, and references to being on the cover of 5 different magazines. And I'm on Meet the Press every Sunday. And most importantly, I'm bearing the lead. He basically was not sure, which was not what he told us, that this thing started in the lab in China. He told us categorically that they did not believe that. And in fact, his diary illustrates that, in fact, that's exactly what he believed, or at least that's what a group of scientists believe. And I'm not sure that's what Fauci was putting forward. He's going to testify before a Senate committee tomorrow. And what also calls into question is, why did Joe Biden pardon him? Pardon him for what? Why would you give a man who is not guilty and is just an honest scientist being a doctor a preemptive pardon? Isn't that interesting? And Rand Paul is insisting that if he lies before Congress, Senator Paul claims that that pardon is not going to exempt him from being charged with contempt of Congress and perjury. So this thing is going to unfold later in this week, and it shall be interesting. The other big story of the day is mail-in ballots and what the Supreme Court is going to do about mail-in ballots. We're going to talk about that, obviously, at the bottom of the hour with Teresa Goldner. And much of the day has been dominated by the memorial service for Lindsey Graham, the United States Senator from South Carolina. I've never seen such a ballyhoo for a senator. I mean, I got Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was a groundbreaking, incredible woman, Supreme Court justice. But for a United States Senator, I mean, I'm not trying to belittle the man. I don't know. I just thought that these kind of services were held for presidents and Supreme Court justices, and I don't know, made a pretty big deal out of it. And of course, his sister has made news this week because she has announced she is not going to be a caretaker for her brother's seat, meaning that she would just sit in the seat till November. She wants to run. She's going to run. And so Democrats think perhaps South Carolina is now in play. I don't know, there's been a tradition. You know, Sonny Bono's wife followed him for him. I can't think of any others right off the top of my head, but it's very common for a family member, particularly a widow, to take over and win. So that could be safe. I don't know about that. And the story of the day, as far as I'm concerned, it's not really the story of the day, but it's the one that piqued my interest one of the most, is a lady by the name of Ruby Rippey. Now, I had never heard of her, but I knew her. And you've never heard of her, but you know her. She is the woman that Gavin Newsom had an affair with back when he was mayor of San Francisco. And, you know, normally this would not even make my rundown. It really wouldn't. I don't care what people do in their bedroom, and I don't care. You know, it's not a news story that a powerful man had sex with somebody very close with him. She worked for him. But here's the thing. And this is why it's on the rundown. This is why we're going to talk about it. She was married to his campaign manager and one of his best friends. Now, I'm sorry. That just makes you a POS. If it stopped right there, it probably wouldn't have made the rundown. But you're not only a POS, you're a moron. You slept with the guy that's helping you win elections? Huh? As my grandmother used to say, I just don't make no sense. You're a campaign manager. And she tells her whole story. She sat down with Vanity Fair and she told her whole story. She claimed she was a drunk back in those days. And she breaks down what he said to her that turned her on. And she talked about how the nature of the relationship was part of the titillation, which I kind of understand. I don't mean to make this personal. Well, I always make it personal. But I had that issue when I went to college and I went crazy and I somehow accidentally on purpose bumped into one of my girlfriend's friends and, and then the intrigue of doing that became so incredibly fascinating because I could not believe that this girl would do this to her friend, that it became like a fetish. I ended up hooking up with literally 3 or 4 of Rhonda's friends.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, number one, man, never somebody close to the girlfriend.
Well, after you do it once and you get away with it, you just think they're never going to, what are they going to do? Tell her best friend, I cheated. I know you're my best friend, but I had something to tell you. I'm cheating with your boyfriend. And none of them ever ratted me out, except for Tracy. Tracy was going to rat me out. I almost died. Tracy told me, if you don't come up here and tell Rhonda, I'm going to tell her. And I said, okay, I'll tell her. Just let me get to campus. And I literally almost died. There's an intersection. I've told this story before. There's an intersection that you get up at I-20 and you make the right towards downtown and towards Morehouse and Spelman. And I was going so fast up the ramp that I couldn't stop. And I ended up in the middle of the intersection. And just by dumb luck, nobody was coming the other way. Otherwise, I'd be dead. And I would have never told Rhonda. But I had to literally go to Rhonda's dorm and confess. Because I figured better hear it from me than from Tracy.
True.
Although she could have been bluffing.
She could have been, but this is why. Just don't play that game.
It got good to her brother.
Play stupid games, get stupid prizes.
Yeah. But then we ended up getting back together my 4th year in Atlanta. I was about to say my senior year. That would have been a lie. My 4th year in Atlanta. And that's the best we ever got along. She had a boyfriend. I had a girlfriend. And we were kids. We were 21 years old. We were both cheating on our boy. And we had I took her to Hilton Head for Easter. We went to Hilton Head. She met my grandmother. That was the best time we ever got along. We were fighting like cats and dogs with boyfriend and girlfriend. When we were just hooking up, got along like peas and carrots.
Yeah, there's no pressure there.
Yeah. Crazy. Life is crazy. So I understand, I suppose, what young Ruby Rippey is going through. She chronicles her affair with Gavin Newsom. We'll talk about that at some point. And I got some miscellaneous audio. People are starting, I think just to go the other way, people are starting to bag on the Odyssey. And yes, the casting as well. You'll hear some incredible stuff. We're just getting started on this Tuesday. Teresa Goldner will join us in just a couple of minutes. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we're going to talk a little Botox with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. I'm not kidding. Rick Kreiser will be here from the Guitar Master series. No news quiz because John Cox is off sleeping in a culvert someplace, but we will have news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
You like playing around in the kitchen? Well, you've got to check out on Instagram, Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen vignettes. Tiny little vignettes, many of them with Gino showing you how to cook different dishes with some of the elements that are in the delicatessen. And now he's got some of the other personnel doing it as well. They're incredibly well done, and they can break down some of the great stuff that they do right at Luigi's. And again, if you're a foodie, the delicatessen's got to be your first stop. I mean, they've got everything. I've got some of the Luigi stuff in my kitchen. I use it when I cook as well. And again, I've told you about the deli, the merchandise, the merch for kids coming up for birthdays or anniversaries or whatever. And then check out the patio. The misters are out there. It's a wonderful afternoon. Where would you rather be? But again, stop in the deli, say hello to Lynette, try one of her Italian wines. Where would you rather be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So apparently peace negotiations have broken down and the president has suspended the 12 or 13-day bombing. But he claims that he is minutes away or lack of a deal away from going after Iranian bridges and infrastructure and destroying all that he knows. Here is a little bit from the president from, I think we got this from Fox.
I know exactly what's going on at Pickaxe. It's not a big problem. We took out their nuclear sites, and we'll have to take out Pickaxe if we don't make a deal. If we don't make a deal, we'll take it out very easily.
I should have prefaced this. Pickaxe is where the Israelis told the United States where the uranium is. It's no longer Karg Island. They don't think that's the main target. It's Pickaxe Mountain. Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, is in the United States. He's in D.C. In fact, he attended the memorial service for Lindsey Graham. And the relationship with the president is a bit frayed at this point. And the relationship with everybody with Benjamin Netanyahu is frayed at this point. I don't know if it's the rise in anti-Semitism or just an anti-Israel move. I think the rise in democratic socialism is a part of that as well, because they are totally they're anti-Semites is what they are. Here's more from the president.
They know I'm going to do that if they don't make a deal. The bridges are going to be gone. Literally in less than, I would say in 2 hours, most of the bridges, the major bridges will all be gone. And the power plants in 1 day. And, you know, if I can avoid doing that, I'd like to do that.
We're not going to do that. Because then what? Then what? As we talked about yesterday, if you keep punching somebody and they keep standing there and you keep telling your audience how you've destroyed the guy, but he's still standing there, then what? And I don't want to call it a prediction. I'm just saying the logical next step is boots on the ground. We cannot win this from the air. And again, I still don't know what winning is. That's why I think the best idea is to get the Sam Hill out of there. Try to create a situation where the Strait of Hormuz can open up and get the hell out. The bottom line is we're going to have to mow the lawn with the Iranians no matter what happens. Does anybody really think they're ever going to stop trying to get a nuclear weapon? And if we work out something with the Saudis, you don't think they're going to try to get a nuclear weapon? You think they're just going to stop? Every administration is going to have to mow the lawn. That's just the situation. Unless we go in with troops and occupy the country, or at least to a point where we could get at the uranium. And nobody wants that. Certainly not 98 days before a very pivotal midterm. Speaking of pivoting, we pivoted to the back half of the hour. Teresa Goldner will join us via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network. And then at the top of the hour, we're going up the hill, talk with our good friend Howard Marcus. And then in the 5, we're going to talk Eagle Light with our friend who's been with us a couple of times on the program, Jenny Voisin at the Big Bear Valley Foundation. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1230. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have met to discuss Ukraine producing its own weapons amid its ongoing war with Russia. Zelensky called it a good meeting. Tuesday's White House sit-down followed a NATO summit in Turkey where Trump announced the U.S. will allow Ukraine to make Patriot defense systems. Zelensky thanked Trump for the support and emphasized the importance of diplomacy. Democratic Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is calling on Senator Mitch McConnell to prove he's fit to continue serving in office or resign. The 84-year-old McConnell was hospitalized June 14th and disclosed weeks later that it was the result of a fall. McConnell's office this week said he remains in a rehabilitation facility and has not yet been medically cleared to return to the Senate. This is SRN News.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management. Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. You can expect to hear an update from the Kern County Sheriff's Office today on a case that they have considered a cold case for many years. A young woman between 13 and 24 was found buried in a shallow grave in a vineyard in Arvin back in 1978, and her body had been there for several months. Though it was unclear exactly how she died because her remains were skeletal, it was apparent she had been murdered. That update is at 2 this afternoon. Evacuations are happening at Caliente Bodfish Road and Bena Road in Caliente because of a fire that has so far burned more than 1,800 acres. That fire got started yesterday afternoon and is now being called the Fish Fire. Reddy Kern says you should be prepared to go if you are told. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Maxwell in the morning. good till the last mic drop.
The state of California needs money because of the way we've been spending our Medicare money. They decided that we need to talk to you guys about this. How about if we withhold $867 million from you? Will that get your attention? You now have the Trump administration, and they have greater expectations of you. So if you can't deliver, they ain't going to deliver either.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
It's a Tuesday. Time to ring it up. Former federal magistrate judge Teresa Goldner. How are you, Teresa?
Hi, Ralph. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there today.
That's all right.
In person.
That's okay. That's all right. We're here.
What do you call this?
The Rogers Graham Global Telephone Network. Yes.
I love that. Does he like that? Global, so it sounds really good.
Well, yeah, because we're reaching anybody. We've got listeners.
Did you really?
Yeah, he came in the chat room and said hello.
Who was from Bakersfield and was visiting North Carolina, or they lived in North Carolina?
I believe they live in North Carolina.
Well, that's very cool. We'll
Yeah.
have to turn this into an international show.
Absolutely. And my uncle listens in South Carolina.
That's good.
And I have friends that listen down in LA. My friend John Tempero listens every now and then.
Is it possible to tell like where people are listening from? Is there like a way to do that or not? Other if they don't tell you.
Chris Burdick, is there a way to tell where people are kind of listening from? No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. I would love to know where people
Well,
are listening.
I'm sorry I'm not there. I'm on my doctor's. I'll call it lockdown. It's home. I'm on home detention for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to talk too much about it. It's not serious, but I'll talk about it when I get back. But I can't go out in the sun, Ralph.
Really?
And so, I mean, I'm calling these my vampire days.
Wow.
I have to be a vampire for 2 weeks.
You can't leave the house for 2 weeks.
Well, I'm not supposed to be in the sun.
Sounds like
And I'm
COVID.
no, it's not COVID. It's not a serious thing.
Well, no, I know. No.
When I get brave enough, I'll tell you about it when I come in.
I wasn't saying that you had COVID. I said it reminded me of COVID when we were all sheltered in our homes. And the best thing we could do was to kind of walk around the block. I remember those days. I was broadcasting out of my living room. It does. It does. And on the day where Fauci's making news, you see that?
You know, I was focusing more on reading about what the Supreme Court might do on this case than Fauci. But what is Fauci? He's in trouble, isn't he?
A little bit. Somehow, some way, and he won't tell us how, but Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky has discovered 1,100 pages of his diary, which illustrated that he wasn't exactly telling the country the truth. And we're finding out, now that the child lockdowns weren't necessary, and he's going before the Senate tomorrow, and it's going to be fascinating. And again, as I put to the listeners at the top of the show, it begs the question, why in the world did Joe Biden give him a preemptive pardon? Doesn't that seem bizarre?
I kind of suspected that it was maybe a money thing. That I thought I had read something somewhere about how he had a financial interest in some sort of lab or procedure, and maybe that was why he got a pardon. But I don't know.
Well, according to Rand Paul, he thinks he lied. And
that's a big deal.
They're going to get after him tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to watch. It really is.
Well, what is that saying? I'm always screwing up my sayings, but I'll bet Rand Paul is loaded for bear.
Yes,
tomorrow.
I'm sure he is. Yep.
He's been after Fauci for a long time.
Yeah, he has. He's never, right from the get-go, didn't like him, disagreed with all of his findings early, always believed that it came from the Wuhan lab, which I always did as well. I think most people made that pretty basic conclusion.
Well, didn't that turn out to be true?
It absolutely was true.
Yeah.
But that's not what Fauci was saying at the time.
God, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's crazy. Well, I hope he has to answer to the truth. And
And you should,
I hope it's a good hearing tomorrow. I'll definitely watch it. Since I'm on lockdown, I'll be able to watch it.
and if you got nothing to do since you're locked down, you should read the New York Times and the New York Post story about it, how he goes on about how he basically was reading his press clippings and was kind of digging it. The fact that he was on 5 different cover magazines, and Barbara Streisand called him about some vaccine advice, and he talked to Joan Baez and Julia Roberts, and he just kind of showed his hand a little bit that he was kind of digging, like most scientists. Like, remember the woman who didn't want to go up on the stage with Donald Trump? I forget her name. Most scientists kind of want to be in the background, but apparently Dr. Fauci was digging the national spotlight.
He was like a moth to the flame.
He really
of celebrity, wasn't he?
And it's easy. It's very, very easy. It'll draw you in, Jack.
Well, he's going to have to. It sounds like there's enough people out there digging into what really happened that the truth will come out.
Yeah, I think so. I truly think so.
Thank goodness for the media, right?
Doggone Skippy. Wouldn't have a democracy without it.
I think you're right. That's where
Absolutely
you
not.
find the truth, isn't it?
The doggone
Most
Skippy.
of the time.
The fourth estate, as we are referenced as.
That's right.
Meantime, mail-in ballots is on the docket. This should be interesting.
Great case that got filed yesterday in the Supreme Court on the emergency docket. I don't know if you've read about it yet, but the emergency docket is called the shadow docket, and the Supreme Court has been very active on the shadow docket this year, more than any year, in Trump's second term, more than any time in the history of the Supreme Court. And the Democrats are very unhappy with their use of the emergency docket because they're getting these quick rulings out of the Supreme Court that are kind of shutting down some of the efforts that I guess you could call it, the more liberals people are trying to get in the trial courts, and those are getting shut down on the emergency docket. And this is one of them. This is a case called Trump versus California, and it's an emergency petition filed by the Trump administration, and the Solicitor General, his name is John Sauer, and it was submitted to Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. This was her term. They take turns looking at these emergency petitions. And she read it, and she told the other side to file a response by, I think it's August 3rd, by 4 o'clock p.m., so it's coming up. And the other side is actually 23 states. And one of them is California. Can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, good. Yeah, one of them is California, and you're going to laugh when I read off. I'm looking at the petition now, and I'm looking at the names of all the states that are in it. It's all the ones that you would think, but it's basically in the trial court, in the federal trial court in Massachusetts, and of course that's one of the states. And the petitioners in the case are claiming that Trump's executive order that he issued in March of this year about election integrity is unconstitutional because it violates the state's rights to control and operate elections. And that's what it's really all about. And what happened, though, was this executive order that was issued, it was issued by Trump, of course, but it directed the federal agencies to, and I'm reading it right now, promote election integrity, focusing on citizenship verification and mail-in and absentee balloting or voting. And the other side, the 23 states, have basically challenged 3 different sections of that executive order. And the first one that they're really upset about is an order from the president to DHS in coordination with the Social Security Administration to come up with a list of what they call state citizenship lists of people who are confirmed United States citizens of voting age, at least 18, that live in each state. And they can use federal records like Social Security information and other types of info that the government keeps. And then it quotes it to the extent feasible and consistent with applicable law. And so it has all these procedures in there about how to protect people's privacy and all that kind of stuff. But basically it tells DHS to come up with these state citizenship lists and send them to each state. It doesn't tell the states what to do with them, but it tells them to send it to the people who are in charge of running the elections in all of these states. And they are so angry about that. They're claiming that interferes with the states, how the state operates the elections.
Yes, isn't that a violation of the separation of powers?
It doesn't tell them what to do with it, though. It just says, send them the list. It doesn't say this is what you shall do with the list, but it puts that information right flat in front of them. Why do you think they did that?
I have no
Why do you
idea.
think they want to do that?
I have no idea.
I think they want to embarrass them if it's at the end of the day, if it turns out that people get to vote that are not on those lists. I think that's going to be really, I think it's future litigation sort of stuff. And then the second part that they're upset about is Section 3 of this executive order. And that tells the United States Postal Service to come up with some rulemaking on how to secure mail-in and absentee ballots. For example, they don't have to, but they're suggesting that they use barcodes to track them and to transmit ballots only to people who are on the state-specific mail-in list, that kind of stuff. But it directs them to start the process of coming up with these rules. And when you have, the federal rulemaking process takes a really long time. It can take months. I mean, it's normally going to take at least 120 days to do it. And so they have to get it out there really fast and get their rulemaking started. And the 23 states that are the petitioners here, or the plaintiffs in the lawsuit below, are very upset about that because they don't want any type of rulemaking to even begin. They claim again that it interferes with their ability to run these elections.
And
I don't see how it does that. All they're doing is telling the federal government, come up with some rules to Postal Service to make sure that the people that get these ballots are really the people that are entitled to have the ballots. I find that interesting.
And they're going to go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And then the other part that they're mad about is another part of Section 3 of the executive order. And that kind of involves the Department of Justice prioritizing election fraud prosecutions. And it doesn't say what to do, just says, look into this, make it a priority. And again, the states are really angry about that because they claim that the whole purpose of that is to intimidate state election officials. So there you go. That's what the executive order is about. And that's why they're angry about it. So it went to court, actually, the district court, which is the federal trial court in Massachusetts, issued an order on June 25th, just, a couple days ago, and or a month ago. And then they had a final judgment on July the 7th and ruled in favor of the states and said that Section 2 and Section 3 went beyond the president's authority because only the states can control the elections, and claimed that what you suggested, that it violated the separation of powers doctrine. And so it declared those provisions to be legally void. And that's kind of where the fight started. Then it goes up to the First Circuit, which is the Federal Appeals Court. And the Federal Appeals Court denied the government's motion for a stay pending an appeal. And so that's where they are right now. So when they denied that stay yesterday, the Trump administration filed a request for an emergency stay in front of the Supreme Court. And that's where we are. So we'll see what the court actually does with it after August the 3rd.
So essentially, they want to try to get rid of mail-in ballots by November.
Well, no, I don't think they want to do that. I think they want to say, hey, we only want people to use mail-in ballots that are legitimate voters, not just sending them out, to anybody that's not a legitimate registered voter entitled to vote in the state. That's what I think the purpose of it is. But we'll see. The other side has come back already, and of course they're claiming that they still have to file their formal response. But in the lower courts, they're basically saying, you can't do this, you can't do this. We're the only ones that are entitled to run elections, and you can't tell us what to do. You're not the boss of me.
And isn't that the way we've been doing things since Thomas Jefferson? I mean, how is this even a call? How is this even going to be close?
I actually think that the court might grant a stay on this one because the arguments that the Attorney General is making for the United States, he's saying that the states, that the dispute is they don't have any standing because they're just trying to interfere with an interdepartmental kind of order from the president to his executive departments to do some rulemaking, come up with some plans how to do stuff. He's not telling them to actually implement it at this point, but the executive order tells them to get it going. Let's get cracking on this and get things ready to get in place. He's not telling them what to do, but he also has a lot of provisions in there that say make sure that you comply with the law. Anything that you come up with, make sure you comply with the law. So
and you're okay. You sound okay with this.
I'm okay with that part of it. I do. I don't really know that they do have standing at that point. I also think that the case is not ripe. That's another kind of jurisdictional term in the Supreme Court. It's got to be ripe. Remember, we talked about ripeness in another case. And ripeness means you have to have a real active, cognizable harm that's going to happen to you right here, right now, and the court really needs to decide it. And I don't see how the states can say that because nothing has been implemented. All the executive order does, when you really look at these pieces, it just says, get this stuff ready to roll. Start thinking about it. Put your rulemaking out there. Send out notices. Have hearings on this stuff. But it doesn't tell them what to do or when to do it.
And you don't think that's going to sow confusion this close to an election?
It might, and that's one of the things, of course, that the 23 states are arguing is that not only confusion, but also intimidation.
Absolutely.
And they're claiming it's irreparable harm, and the balance of the equities is in favor of the states. I just think it's too early. I think they needed to wait and see what the government comes up with, and then if they come up with something that they think is illegal, go ahead and file your lawsuit then. But don't file it now. I mean, I think they filed it 2 or 3 days after the executive order was issued in March. Didn't even wait to see what the government was going to do. So I think they jumped the gun. Am I using the right?
When you say they, who are you? When you say they, who are you speaking of?
I think the 23 states jumped the gun on this one. I think they filed their lawsuit too soon. I think they should have waited. But we'll see what the Supreme Court does with it. They're really big on this emergency docket, and they've been granting a lot of orders on it. So they just might end up doing it. They might end up granting it.
I just don't think so. I don't think the Supreme Court or anybody else, and I'm shocked that you're leaning towards allowing this. Just any finagling with the federal government into elections is crazy. And interrupting states' rights to do whatever the Sam Hill they want with their elections is wrong, to try to intervene in that. I mean, and again, that starts with Thomas Jefferson. Isn't that exactly what Jefferson and Adams fought about in terms of states' rights and the federal government overstepping and telling states what to do? And now we've had centuries of states' rights, particularly when it comes to elections. And now here comes Donald Trump, and all of a sudden the federal government is finagling around with states and how they do their elections. And I don't like it. I don't.
I didn't think you would. I thought we would have a fun argument.
Yeah,
on this one.
I don't like it.
So this will be good. But when you look at the executive order itself, it doesn't really tell them exactly what to do. And it doesn't tell them to tell the states exactly what to do. For example, come up with the list and send it to them. How does that hurt the states? By coming up with a list.
But what do you think Trump is up to, Judge Goldner? Come on. You don't you can't see this. CV Wonder can see this. This is a preemptive move to call the November and perhaps even the 28 election fraudulent, et cetera, because when the Republicans get destroyed in November, the very first thing out of Donald Trump's mouth is that the election was rigged. And this is what this is all about.
Shouldn't there be a consistent list? Shouldn't the list be the same? I mean, either somebody is a legitimate voter or they're not. And that's, to me, that's black and white. I mean, either you qualify as a voter or you don't. And so how can that be controversial if you've got the lists, and the list, they look at the Fed's list and the state looks at its list, and if there's any difference between the two, they can investigate it and find out whether there's people on one or the other that shouldn't be there, and then they can come up with their own clean list. I think that's a good thing. I think that preserves election integrity. That's why I don't have a problem with it.
Well, see, that's the difference between you and I. I don't think there's anything to question. I believe in election integrity. I think we have election integrity. And we've always believed that as a country and as a nation until a man named Donald came along. And now we've got radio talk show hosts who spit out these lies and even question our very own machines here in Kern County and have even questioned Amy Espinosa. This is nonsense, Terry, and it's despicable that people are forwarding this lies.
I think completely. I
Well,
would
that's
trust Amy Espinoza.
and that's my point. There are radio talk shows on this very station that have gone down to the supervisor's building and lit her up personally and claimed that the Dominion machines are rigged and that our elections are rigged and blah 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 blah. And it sows confusion and it makes people stay home because who wants to play a rigged game? It's so despicable. It just makes me ill. It really, really does.
One of the things that bothers me is, when we started out talking today, we talked about what staying home during COVID. Remember what happened during COVID? How elections changed during COVID? Everything was the ballots were sent to everybody in the universe, and people got 2 and 3 ballots, and people that weren't supposed to get ballots got ballots, and just our rules were so relaxed here in California about ballots and being a registered voter, and everything just kind of went,
Right.
And I think it's time. I think it needs to be tightened up because I question whether or not. I mean, there really should not be a lot of things to dispute about whether someone is an eligible voter, and I just don't know why they argue about it. I think people should prove that they're eligible to vote, and if they are, they get to vote. Period.
And isn't it proved by their signature?
Well, that's if it is their signature.
What do you mean if it is their signature? If they signed it when they registered and it's compared to what they mailed in.
Well, yeah, I know they're supposed to. I understand that they do. That's supposedly. I know. And when I was county council, I know that they did. I went a few times down to the elections department during the elections where they were comparing signatures. Not an easy thing to do, though, all the time.
That's why our elections. That's why our elections take so damn long.
Yeah, and there's an opportunity, of course, if the elections official thinks that the signature doesn't match, of course, they're supposed to send out a notice and the person's supposed to have an opportunity to come in and say, yeah, that's my signature.
Another reason our elections take so damn long.
That's true. That's true.
I'm all in favor of getting rid of mail-in ballots. I'm all in favor, but I'm not in favor of the federal government getting involved and getting lists of names and things like this. It's just not their role. It's just not their role.
I mean, the word, what is it? State citizenship list. That kind of sounds sort of ominous, doesn't it?
It does.
Here's your state citizenship list. Take a look at it. Doesn't tell them what to do, but presumably they'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
But why, if you were doing everything right, whatever it is, if you were an official and you were doing everything right and you got a list like that, why would you care? Why would you be upset about getting a list like that?
Because you don't want the federal government doing something that's not their responsibility.
Well,
that's why we have 3 branches of government. Why don't we want smart judges making laws? Because we have 3 branches of government. That's not their job.
If you were an election official and you thought everything you were doing was hunky-dory, you could take that list and you could put it in the random file. You could throw it away. You could light it on fire. You could do anything you wanted to with it. Because the executive order doesn't say what to do with it. It just says, here it is.
So again, I'll ask you, what do you think the Trump administration is after? What do you think they're trying to do?
If you read the executive order, it says they want to ensure that there is integrity.
You can have that executive order. I'm asking you, what do you think they're trying to do with this? Just check the names. That's all they want.
I think they are trying to find a way to put pressure on the states to make sure that they dot all their I's and cross all their T's when they put people on voter lists and when they send out these mail-in ballots. That's what I think they're trying to do. And they're trying to do it any way they can, but to try to do it legally.
Yeah, I think you got half right. They're trying to put pressure on those state representatives. I think you got it half right.
But what do you think they're trying to put pressure on them to do, though, Ralph? To do something bad or to do something good?
Yes, to do something bad. Yes.
Yes. Oh, you think they're trying to have them do something bad?
Yes. Yes.
Like what?
Like, I don't know, flip an election?
No, I mean, what is it they're trying to have them do? Take people off a list that's supposed to be on a list?
I don't know. I just don't trust the federal government getting involved in this. What is the Mississippi case? How does that play into this?
Which one are you referring to?
The
one where about the dates of the ballots.
Yes.
Yeah. No. That one had to do with allowing people to. How long can people send in mail-in ballots after the fact? That case doesn't have anything to do with this case.
Okay.
This case just has to do with clean up your lists and make sure that everybody that gets a ballot is supposed to get a ballot. It doesn't have to do with when they have to send the ballot in.
I'm reading from the New York Times. The legal battle stems from an executive order signed by Mr. Trump in late March that had attempted to place limits on mail-in voting, including using federal oversight of the U.S. Postal Service to gain greater control over mail-in voting practices.
And that's the part that has to do with Section 3, where the executive order directs the Postal Service to come up with some rulemaking to secure the mail-in and absentee ballots, like using barcodes to track them, or only transmit ballots to people who are on the state's specific mail-in list, that kind of stuff. That's where that comes in. That's where that, you probably read about the barcode stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of that section that they don't like. So as I was researching what was going on at the Supreme Court today,
yes,
I also came across a really interesting case that I thought your listeners would think was interesting.
And quickly, I've got about 2 minutes.
Comes out of Alaska. It's called Juby versus Alaska, and it's an Alaskan bush pilot who is challenging the state's forfeiture of his $95,000 airplane on the theory that his wife, the wife of some guy that lived in an alcohol-free village, carried on a six-pack on the airplane of beer.
Thank you for that, Judge Goldner.
Isn't that funny? So
that
this
is
woman
funny.
brought a six-pack of beer,
and it's a big deal.
Was bringing it
Yeah.
to her husband, and so they seized the six-pack. The agents got on the plane.
I gotta
and took the
fly.
Six-pack away.
I gotta fly, Terry. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Peters in Washington. The nation heard tributes to the life of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham at memorials at both the U.S. Capitol and the National Cathedral of Washington today. Vice President J.D. Vance says that Senator Lindsey Graham was able to command respect from everyone around him.
He was the kind of guy who would walk into the Senate, and when he walked into the Senate, this was a guy who couldn't have stood more than 5'6" or 5'7", but he'd swashbuckle in with his jacket open like he was 6'5". He had an attitude to him, and it's one of the reasons why Lindsey Graham was Lindsey Graham.
Mourners included Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Graham, who is 71, will be buried tomorrow in South Carolina. Johnson & Johnson is proposing a multi-billion-dollar talc settlement to end a marathon legal fight.
Johnson & Johnson has agreed to pay $5.5 billion to tie up remaining lawsuits that claim its talc products caused ovarian cancer. The drug maker has been dealing with talc-related lawsuits for years. It says the settlement requires at least 95% of remaining claimants to participate. Johnson & Johnson will make an initial payment of up to $3 billion next year. It has no additional payments due until 2028. A U.S. bankruptcy judge denied a $9 billion settlement proposed by company's subsidiary Red River Talc last year. It would have been one of the biggest mass tort settlements in history. I'm Mike Hempel.
A teenager who killed 2 students and 2 teachers in a shooting at Appalachia High School in Georgia has been sentenced to serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. 16-year-old Colt Gray had pleaded guilty Friday to charges including murder. On Wall Street, the Dow by 537 points. More at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked Minnesota's law banning.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
If you got to go, you better go now. I'm Chris Davis. That message is coming from Reddy Kern. People in the Caliente Bodfish Road and Bena Road area have been told that they need to evacuate, and that is because of a wildfire that is being called the fish fire, and that so far has burned about 1,800 acres in that area after splitting off and becoming two fires Monday, says CAL FIRE. That fire got started just before 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. CAL FIRE has not discussed the cause. If you are old enough, you may remember 48 years ago when this happened. The body of a teenager or young woman was found in a shallow grave in a vineyard in Arvin. Only a skeleton was found, and that person may have been dismembered. Her hair was auburn, and police say a pair of underwear was found nearby. They believe that the woman may have been dead for several months. Today, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is expected to give an update on that case. That'll be at 2 o'clock at their headquarters. So far, they have not let any clues slip out publicly about what they might say. It is not clear exactly what happened with a woman who ran off the road and hit several fixed objects yesterday on Highway 99 near the interchange with Highway 58. And that was just before 10 a.m. The Kern County Coroner's Office has identified the woman killed as 38-year-old Jacqueline Santiago of Lamont. Several days ago at Big Bear Lake, a now internet-famous eagle named Jackie got into a fight with two other eagles over a fish and was seriously hurt. Though she remains in critical condition, wildlife authorities say she is getting the best treatment, even having had a blood transfusion from another eagle, and that may be one of the rarest medical procedures for any bald eagle. Though her recovery is not guaranteed, she is doing better. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
To the rest well in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make them an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 28th day of July. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. We got lots to do. We'll talk about Gavin Newsom's mistress back in the early part of the century. He was sleeping with his campaign manager's wife and one of his best friends. Again, like I said, I don't care what you do with your sex life. I mean, he wouldn't be the first leader to cheat. We could go through the names, as I often do. Dwight Eisenhower, Franklin Roosevelt, John Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Bobby Kennedy, Bill Clinton. I mean, we could just go down the list. But to sleep with your friend's wife and your campaign, the guy that's helped you become mayor of San Francisco, you're going to sleep with his wife. That just shows lack of judgment. I mean, obviously it's lack of judgment in any sense, but your campaign manager? Just idiotic. And then coming up at 5, you just heard the story from our news guy about Jackie the Eagle. We're going to talk with Jenny Boyson, who's part of the Big Bear Valley Foundation, which has been following Jackie and Shadow, the couple that apparently are kind of split up, whether it's because of her illness or because there's another eagle in the nest, literally. We'll follow up. But it is a Tuesday. Howard.
Oh, not bad. I was just explaining my inner fanboy to Chris.
Say what?
My nerd years,
Your nerd years?
I was kidding. No, I owned a hobby shop for about 5 years back in the very late 70s, early 80s.
Howard, what are you talking about?
Oh, D&D and all that stuff.
Okay, once again, what are you talking about?
Like Big Bang Theory, those kind of guys, role playing and all that stuff.
Setting the table for Howard here a little bit.
Please, because I'm totally at a loss.
Yesterday on the JR show, we had JR's entertainment guy, Mike from, I believe it's the Maya Theaters, and he just came back from Comic-Con. Well, Mary Marcus, Howard's wife, called in because she wanted to talk about it because apparently her and Howard have been going to Comic-Con since the early days of Comic-Con.
Shut up.
Yeah, she ratted me out.
Are you serious, Howard?
I went to my first conventions in the 70s. I was telling Chris, I met Grace Lee Whitney, who played Yeoman Rand from Star Trek in the 70s.
Oh, of course, Grace Lee Whitney.
Well, yeah, I had a reason to meet her, but yeah. And but it was a different thing then. It wasn't, dressing up like, I would never wear a costume. I never would. I was there
that
for
was my
variant books and rare comics.
That was my first question. What did you go as?
Never, ever. Not at gunpoint. I went there because I was, you collected books and comics and stuff, and I wanted to meet artists. I met a lot of personal artists that I really admired, and had a lot of original artwork I bought, stuff like that. And it was a different experience. And then when the corporate media took it over, 20 years ago probably, it turned into a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And, it stopped being fun. It stopped being fan based. It was very corporate.
Huh.
And but no, it was just another hobby. I went to these things I was always looking for this book or that book. I collected a lot of first editions, things like that. A lot of fan art, even artist original stuff.
Do you go to the one that's here?
I haven't been here. I'll be honest, I'm kind of burned out on it. I had so much stuff. I think when I moved the first time, I had 60 boxes of books.
Are you serious?
Well, history buff, military history, science fiction, fantasy, horror, art books. When do you stop?
Yeah, I've been in that position. When I moved here, I had like 4 crates of books that I gave away to my friends.
The sad part now, no value to them.
Yeah,
Nobody
true.
reads. I'm trying to downsize. I'm putting them on like Marketplace and eBay, and they're going for like 10 cents on the dollar.
Really?
Yeah, nobody reads. People underage, God knows what, they don't read.
No, they really don't.
Yeah, it's very sad. We're losing a whole aspect of our culture.
We really are.
Yeah.
We really are. I see these reels where the paragraph will say something like, the psychedelic, articulate psychiatrist asked a definitive question, and they'll ask the person to read the paragraph, and they can't read it.
Yeah, but
they can't read it.
Yeah, you don't know what the words mean, or you can't.
Psychedelic. They cannot read that word. They've never seen it before because they don't read.
Yeah, it's very sad. It really is. And it was one of those things that I went to for a different reason, and it was fun to go to. And it was for us, people haven't been. Balboa Park in San Diego is a wonderful city.
Yes, it is. That's one of the rare parts of San Diego. I'm not a big San Diego guy, and I know I'm the only one on the planet that isn't. But Balboa Park is hella fun.
Oh, it really is. And downtown, we used to go to, because the Comic-Con used to be what's called Old Town. All the great restaurants used to be there. Jim Croce had a place called Croce's there. His mother ran it. And, it was just something different to do. And then it just became where everybody was doing it. It became less special.
See, that's what's weird for me. I didn't like the downtown area. What do they call it? The Gaslight area? Is that what they call it?
Yeah. Old Town Gaslight.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I don't know why.
You should have been, because all the bars and all the partying, man.
I know. And I was a young kid, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we haven't been there in probably 10, 15 years, maybe. And it became more and more expensive. And then if you want to go to Comic-Con, as Chris will tell you, you had to book a year in advance.
Really?
Yeah, for the August convention, the tickets would go on sale like January, and they sell out that day.
That's crazy.
That was insane. Yeah, and it just, it's just one of those phases you go through in life, and when it becomes less fun to do, you just stop doing it.
Yeah, I hear you. Have you seen the Odyssey yet?
No, I'll be honest, I probably won't.
Why not?
There are better versions out there. I'm waiting to see.
How do you know?
You know what I'm waiting to see, honestly? Elon Musk's version from Grok. He's going to make it, I don't know if you heard that. He's going to make it using Grok to prove a point, and he's going to stay completely historical. Now, it's hard to say historical on something that's basically a myth.
Yeah.
But he's going to try and stay true to the historical equipment and the characters from the original storyline and the original ideas.
Okay, now what is
I want to
grok?
compare the two, so I'll wait till it's like a Lexus computer-driven Alexa-style chat, and what it is kind of it's a computer formula where you can populate stuff. And I'm not computer literate enough to probably correctly explain that. But he's going to try and use that AI system, prove a point, to basically make a movie that he feels will be superior. When that comes out, I'll probably end up watching both just to compare them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You got to see the Nolan's version.
Be fair. Yeah, I want to wait for his to come out. If it does, it could have been just him making a statement, but he made a public statement about it. We talked about this last week briefly. There are really good versions already out that are much more true to the original mythos.
But I mean,
these versions, things like that. We don't go to movies much to begin with.
This argument that you have to be true to Homer is insane to me.
Well, it's not that. It's just that there are versions where you can at least, like if you watch, say, for example, Kingdom of Heaven, which was a wonderful movie when you see the uncut version, which was historically accurate and still compelling storytelling, and you feel like you're there. But when you go into the aspects where the things don't really quite feel real in, say, terms of the language or the characters or the armor don't fit the time period, then it becomes something more problematic.
It becomes like a movie. You mean?
Well, and I don't have a problem with that. You have to have, and you probably know this term, what's called suspension of disbelief.
Exactly.
Which is the ability to go into the movie without preconceptions and to watch the movie for the movie. And I'm usually able to do that as long as it's not an actor I hate. I'm not going to go see a Rosie movie, or obviously something with an actor I really dislike personally.
And I can do that as long as it's not based on history. If it's based on history and actual accounts, then you lost me. Because I cannot tell you how excited I was for JFK. I saw it in Century City at a midnight movie. I walked out at 2 a.m. Yep. I walked out at 2 a.m. and I was like, God, dog.
Well, he went into an agenda. Everybody was involved with the Martian.
Oh, my God. He threw everything on the wall. I'm like, Are you kidding me? I've waited since I was a little kid to see a movie about John Kennedy. And this is what I get from Oliver Stone, of all people, who at the time I liked and respected as a director.
Right. Well, he made some excellent films.
He did.
But you want to see here? I'll give you an example of a really good historical movie that's compelling, accurate, and with known actors. And one of my favorites, Glory.
Glory is a great picture.
Great picture.
Partly shot.
Ones I hold up as an example. Or Last Mohicans, 1992, with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Glory, partly shot in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't the fort there? Yeah,
no, Fort Sumter.
North or South Carolina. It was on the fort. They actually assaulted at the end.
I think that was South Carolina.
I think it was South Carolina. It was never captured, actually. They tell you that kind of the epilogue.
Yeah, but when they're marching and somebody asks Morgan Freeman a question and he says, "We come back soldiers," that's the middle of Beaufort, South Carolina, right there.
Oh, there you go. Cool. See, I didn't know that. You learn something every day. No, but that's the example for me. That those kind of movies that can remain, try to make you feel like you're actually really in the moment without surrendering to current political fads or ideas, and actually have you in the moment. And it's very easy to get into the movie. I don't have to fight to get into the feeling for the movie.
I just don't understand how people are upset at the casting. They're upset. What's the child's name, Chris?
I can't even say her name. Yeah,
Laputa Nyong'o plays the Helen Troy, and I'm just like, it's a movie.
Well, I think that there's only to that point possibly when you have Helen Troy described as the most beautiful woman in the world. That's the whole reason for the war, and very specifically described as obviously a blonde white woman, and she's so beautiful, stunningly beautiful. There's lots of African American actresses or Hispanic actresses or whatever race you want that are stunningly beautiful. And having seen the woman that's Helen Troy, she doesn't fit that, unfortunately. I can't see the face that what is it called? The face
that launched 1,000 ships.
Launched 1,000 ships. That ain't her, bluntly.
So you don't think she's beautiful? You don't have a problem that she's. You don't have a problem that she's black. You don't think she's beautiful?
No, not particularly. I just wanted her to be pretty. But then
a lot of people think she's
a pretty woman.
A lot of people think she's gorgeous, including the guy you're talking to.
Oh, that's okay. That's just different than
and the producer as well, apparently.
But remember, she's supposed to be universally, beautiful to everyone, where there'd be no doubt that everybody thought she was, wonderful. If you have to kind of parse it, then it's kind of an issue.
Well, I don't think
I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't really judge yet.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't think you become a mega superstar in Hollywood on motion picture screens if you're kind of like average, Howard. You may not like her, but I would be willing to bet that 80% of moviegoers think she's beautiful.
Well, that's okay.
How else do you make it in
I haven't seen
Hollywood?
the movie yet.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't either, really.
I heard your story.
Did you hear my story? So pissed, Howard. So pissed. I don't even know what.
How could they not send you into the right? Well, anyways.
And how did I not figure it out? I mean, I walked in.
It must be $20 for an IMAX theater. It must be horrendously expensive then.
Mine was $9. I'm a senior.
Right, but I'm saying, what would it be for the actual? Was that the actual IMAX ticket you purchased, or they gave you the wrong ticket?
We haven't really figured that out yet.
Yeah.
What's your theory, Chris? Because you
It
looked at my
says
ticket.
IMAX on the ticket. He showed it to me yesterday. I think they sold him an IMAX ticket, but the kid just
sent me to the wrong theater.
Yeah, wrong theater.
Well, then that's not a bad price for an IMAX. That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
The question is, how did I not figure it out? Well, because I was late. I was 8 minutes late.
Well, you're so busy rushing in, trying to catch the movie. Yeah.
I thought, okay, maybe because this is a Chris Nolan picture, they started right at 5:15. Because I've never seen a 5:15 movie start at 5:15.
Yeah, well, you usually have previews and commercials and all that.
And as I said, the guy sitting next to me looked at me like I was a Martian, and nobody was eating except me. I mean, I should have. Now looking back on it, I should have been able to figure it out. I'm in the wrong movie theater. This thing's been going on for a while because I walked in right at the Battle of Troy.
Yeah.
So I should have figured out. There's no way 5 minutes in, they're in the Trojan horse.
Right. Now, out of curiosity, have you seen the movie Troy with Brad Pitt?
I have not, and it's funny you should say that.
And I'll tell you what. Watch that. Look at the woman who plays Helen there. Look at Brad Pitt Look at Brad Pitt, who is playing Achilles. Compare him with who is playing Achilles and Odysseus, and you'll probably see some of the issues.
That's the thing, though. Everybody got that wrong. Elliot Page isn't Achilles.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think Achilles is in the film.
She's the helper for Odysseus, right?
Yeah, it plays the essentially the soldier that was tricked into tricking his people into taking the Trojan horse.
Okay, I see. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but again, watch Troy, where I think it was a little more historically accurate. They went to a lot of more effort with the actual armor, the time frame, and all those issues they go through. And again, that is more of a historical movie in the sense that it's not completely based on, what is really a mythology.
Right.
Watch that one and compare the two, see what you feel different. Remember, I can't judge fairly either because I've seen one but not the other, and you're in the same position reverse.
Wasn't the Battle of Troy really about Agamemnon and just wanting to start a war and using Helen of Troy as kind of an excuse?
Well, we don't know specifically because remember, it all comes down through it's more of an oral history.
Right.
But a German called Heinrich Schliemann, I actually remember the name, my God. He actually found Troy because they dug through the ruins and were able to figure out by the layer of carbon from when the city burned when it happened and matched against historical records. So it was a real city. There was a real siege. There was a real destruction of the city. Everything else is kind of a supposition.
Okay.
So we don't, everything passes down through oral history back then. We don't really know.
I thought if somebody was going to have a problem with casting, it would have focused on Matt Damon. Because as much as I love Matt Damon, he's just not, it'd be like Matt Damon playing Moses. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like Charlton Heston was an imposing, large figure.
Right.
And Matt Damon just isn't. He's like 5'9", and he lost a lot of weight for this role, and he just, I don't know.
Well, he's a normal guy. He's, he just muscled up a bit more. Well, again, like you say, when you see Brad Pitt, who's not a huge muscular man, but the way he buffed out for Troy, he's very believable.
Yeah.
As Achilles.
Yeah.
It very much so. So, no, it's, it's an interesting issue. It's just a matter, it kind of reflects the things we're going through as a time is we're having shifting cultural tastes, and there's obviously a clash between traditionalists and people that want to reflect current trends of the moment.
Yeah.
And it's coming to a head of the movies, and then people are kind of voting with their tickets.
Yeah, well, they're winning so far, Jack. I got a couple.
Look at Supergirl.
Oh, Supergirl. I'm talking about Odyssey. It's doing extremely well.
Yeah, it's a huge hit. Yeah.
real quick, because we're running out of time. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm guessing you were never Anthony Fauci fan.
I never got a shot of any sort. Put it that way.
What's that?
I never received a vaccine of any sort and never would have.
Really? Why not?
Because when they immediately turned it political and made it a persecution issue, I got a flu shot every year, so it wasn't like I wasn't going to get the shot. But when they basically made a moral judgment on whether you got the shot or not, and basically said, if you don't get the shot for whatever reason, you're a bad person and deserve to have to get sick and die. And those statements were openly made by political figures and leaders. It became an issue for me. And I had a very simple logic that could never be explained away, which was if the N95 mask works, which is what they wanted you to wear, not some crochet thing that actors wore, but if the N95 mask works and protects you, why do you care if I wear mine? Because I can infect you and you can infect me. Then let people live their life and make a personal decision. And they never could answer that adequately and still can't.
Do you think Fauci was lying?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a financial interest in the whole aspect of what's it called, the gain of research that they were doing with the lab. He was involved with the money part of it, that he had a personal expenditures that were involved in income.
They kind of
made it an ego thing on top of that. I think he was lying the whole time.
They kind of allowed labs to kind of experiment with this kind of stuff and find out more about it.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's why he was covering for the folks in Wuhan.
Yeah. I called it I've called it the Wuhan flu from the start, and people yelled at me. They said, "Look, it came out of China, came out of Wuhan. It was a lab release.
No question.
Why did you? And we've never gone after China for the liability. Why wouldn't we?
I agree. I agree 1,000%.
$1 billion in economy lost, and people lost. Military servicemen were dishonorably discharged. People lost their jobs. People's lives were ruined for a medical choice that should have been a personal preference for essentially what is a Chinese flu.
Yeah, and kids missed a lot of school. I know my nephew damn near flunked out of high school.
We've got kids that have a whole cultural set that are still paying the effects now because of 3 years of developmental education was critical for them, and they just lost out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Teachers got a 3-year vacation.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Well said, Howard. Always good to talk to you. Say hey to Mary. We'll talk to you. I won't talk to you next Thursday, but next Tuesday, but somebody will.
I'll be here if they want to.
All right, very good.
Let me know, Chris.
All right, man. Take care.
Hey, listen, have a good vacation.
Thank you.
For your mom's birthday.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
All right.
All right, take care. Quick time out. Very little time before we get to the bottom of the hour. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I would stick around if I you.
Kern Radio. News Talk 96.
Adaptive.
What was that about?
Somebody asking if we do, or if we have recordings for Terry's show.
We're going to talk a little Botox with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. I'm not kidding. Rick Kreisel will be here from the Guitar Master series. No news quiz because John Cox is off sleeping in a culvert someplace, but we will have news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, the company that powers all of our IT here at American General Media, join us tomorrow as they do every other Wednesday. Basically, they're just trying to highlight and educate business owners who are involved with IT and things that you should be looking out for, things that should be setting off bells and whistles, and things that you shouldn't be putting up with in terms of your IT. If you've got a company coming out and just kind of doing the same thing over and over again, you need to talk to the folks at Adaptive Networks. As I've talked about, we've been in bed with them business-wise for over a year now, and it's because of their customer service and their reliability. As I've talked about, we're a radio station. We can't afford for our IT to be down. We can't have our IT company tell us, yeah, we'll get to that next week. That can't happen, and it shouldn't happen to you. Call them today at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com or listen tomorrow when they join us at 3:30 right here on The Ralph Bailey Show.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Later in the broadcast, I'm going to play some audio of folks asking members of the cast of Odyssey, and I'll ask you, Mr. Burdick, since you played that, because that's part of my answer. If you could take one person, one motion picture, and one album to a deserted island where you would have to stay for the rest of your life, which three would it be? My album would be Stevie Wonder's Songs of the Key of Life. My motion picture would be The Godfather. And the one person I would take, see, that is the good question.
That's the kicker.
That is the kicker.
Who do you trust?
Well, if I could take anybody, I mean, we're on a deserted island.
For you, I'd say Zucchini.
Zucchini?
Personally?
You think I would take Chris Zucchini on a deserted island with me?
You guys, look, you get it.
He just drove off the road if he's listening to this broadcast.
Listen to me, though.
You get some report that we're gay lovers or something?
Oh, survival.
Chris Zucchini?
Survival, though. He would help you actually figure out how to live off the land, do all that type of stuff.
You know, it's funny. I swear on my father's grave, when I first heard that, I thought about that. I really did.
See?
I really did, because Zucchini is a crazy wildlife
I'm
freak.
just saying. You need someone like that.
No, but I need some loving. I'm sorry. I'd take one of my exes. Probably take Monica. That's probably what I'd do. Quick time out. It's more TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump remembers Senator Lindsey Graham as a giant of the United States Senate and a true American original. Mr. Trump joined foreign leaders, lawmakers, and others at a funeral service for Graham on Tuesday at Washington National Cathedral. In his remarks, Trump said Graham was the first person to make you laugh and one of the last people that you'd really ever want to fight. A Northern California lifeguard is being hailed as a hero after saving a boy from pounding surf. The dramatic rescue at Seabright Beach in Santa Cruz caught the attention of President Trump. The president said Tuesday that he would invite the lifeguard and possibly the boy to the White House. On Wall Street, the Dow by 537 points, the Nasdaq dropped 55, the S&P 500 advanced by 15. More details at srnnews.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. You should be prepared to leave if you are told you need to, says Reddy Kern. That is if you are in the area of Caliente Bodfish Road and Bina Road in Caliente. And that is because of the fish fire, which got started just before 1 Monday afternoon and has been burning since and is only about 5% contained, according to CAL FIRE. So far, that fire has burned about 1,800 acres. Houses are in danger in that area. A woman was killed in a wreck on Highway 99 near the interchange with Highway 58 Monday morning just before 10, says the Bakersfield Police Department. That woman has been identified by the Kern County Coroner's Office as 38-year-old Jacqueline Santiago of Lamont. Police say they don't know why, but she ran off the road and hit several fixed objects with her car. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, this is Terry Maxwell. You know, one thing I've never enjoyed is painting. It takes time, patience, and real skill to do it right. That's why when it comes to painting my home or business, I trust the professionals at Howling Painting. Howling Painting is family-owned and operated right here in Kern County and has proudly served our community since 1978. They were even voted Best of Bakersfield, Best Painting Company in 2025 and 2026. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, Howling Painting delivers top-quality work at competitive prices. Their team is dedicated to exceptional service and results that exceed expectations. And they don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, so you can feel confident your property is in good hands from the start to the finish. Get a free, no obligation consultation today at Howling Painting. That's HALLING.com or call 872-0988. Howling Painting, quality works you can trust.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Dr. Sam Woggood, transfer to the University of California at San Francisco, was asked, can only women get pregnant? And that was asked by Representative Mary Miller. You know what? He couldn't answer it. That's what I'm talking about, because everybody listening to me right now knows that only women can get pregnant in the human race.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.
See more besides Keenan?
I record it, but I don't watch it. Well, Michael Shea and Mr. Johansson.
This is why you need Peacock, because you don't have to record it. It's just right there for you.
Yeah. I probably should have set this up before I asked that question, but here's what they asked. God, and you should see this picture of Zendaya. Because they are all over, because they've got two movies coming out. They've got The Odyssey and Spider-Man. So they are all over the reels. They're just over everything. They are like the couple right now. So you figured out what's your three?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around
who you take with you. Oh, the album?
The album is the hardest for me.
All right, so what's the movie?
Movie's Gladiator. 110%.
Gladiator.
Russell Crowe. Favorite movie of all time.
All right. And who are you taking with you?
My best friend.
Who's this? A dude?
No.
A girl?
Yeah.
Visalia?
No.
Okay.
No, that one. Look, I'm thinking survival here, and I'm not looking to be the only one that can actually take care of myself. My best friend, who's a chick, she camps all the time. She knows how to take care of herself. Like we can vibe.
Ooh, that's true. That's right. That changed me out. I would take Kelly, my friend in St. Louis. She's a badass. There you go. She's that's badass. She's a former athlete. She could handle herself.
Album, that's too hard for me. I got so many that
it's easy. Stevie Wonder's Songs the Key of Life. Not even close. Not even close. It's my favorite album of all time. Because every freaking song on that thing is a hit. It's not even close. But yeah, who I would take. Here is what started this discussion, because the question was asked to the cast of Odyssey, and here are their answers.
Danny, what is the one album, film, and person you take with you?
Oh my goodness. Well, Tom.
This is Zendaya.
But, oh man, what? How am I supposed to do? That is really an impossible question. I have to bring a greatest hits of sorts. Oh, maybe Earth, Wind, and Fire.
One film would be The Odyssey.
Tom Holland.
The Legend album by Bob Marley, because there's never a bad time to put that on. And what was the third one? Oh, Zendaya.
Well, obviously my wife. I'd probably take the Joshua Tree. One film for 10 years. Well, my God. You might have to take Step Brothers because you have to laugh.
I believe it would probably be Selma Songs by Bjork. I just saw La Bola Negra. Well, my family counts as one person, right? Okay, plus our dog.
Olivia Dean. Oh, Sound of Music. Probably my brother.
I'd probably bring my girlfriend and my daughter. I'm not going to choose right now. Probably like some classical day, like something really long. Probably the longest thing you can get. Probably like The Mask. Kendrick Lamar, because he just like rocks me. He's a poet. He's a lyricist. Scorsese, because he's so New York and I'm so New York. I would take Raging Bull. My wife, of course. We've been married for 30 years. She's my favorite person in the world.
My kids, the 411 by Mary J. Blige.
Frank by Amy Winehouse.
That was Charisse Theron. I don't know. Yeah, you gotta think rationally.
Yes. I know it's always like your first thought of you need some love and you need someone there for companionship. All makes sense to the world. It really does. But if you're stuck on a deserted island for the rest of your life, you really want to be the one that's trying to pull all the weight without knowing what you're doing at first.
Yeah, Kelly would be a badass. I'm gonna call her and tell her to watch YouTube tonight. I'm gonna go watch. Just listen to the 4:30 portion of my show today, because she'd be a badass. That's what I always loved about Kelly. She was like a dude, but she's hot, you know. And that's. No, I better not tell her to listen. I don't know. What do you got on the board? We would check that today. What do you got?
Let's see. It was announced that Kirk Cousins will be the starting quarterback over Mendoza going into training camp. Who will be the starter in week 1?
Kirk Cousins, not even close.
Yeah, I think the same.
We're not gonna do that. I pray we don't do that.
It's the new NFL formula.
Well, it just makes sense. You can't, if you look back at Peyton Manning's rookie year where he led the league in interceptions, you look at John Elway's first couple of years that they just kind of beat up on him. And it just doesn't make any sense any longer if you don't have to do that. This is the perfect situation for the Raiders. And I haven't said that since Rich Gannon was with us, or when we got Derek, and Derek was young and running the football and playing pretty effectively. But this is the perfect situation, because if things go badly with Kirk Cousins, you've got a Heisman Trophy winner that 5, 6, 7 games into the season you can throw in there and get ready for next year or the year after that. And if we don't need him, he can do the Aaron Rodgers. I mean, people forget there have been many quarterbacks who've had to sit and watch. Steve Young had to sit and watch Joe Montana. Aaron Rodgers had to sit and watch Brett Favre.
Patrick Mahomes.
And Patrick Mahomes sat for a while. I mean, it's not a bad thing to let a guy, because it's a different game. It's just a different game. In college, you're playing some really, really good players, but the best player on a college team that you're playing at Indiana is the worst player on an NFL team. You see what I'm saying? In other words, the best player on that, let's say they're playing Indiana State. The best player that Indiana State's got, the worst NFL team has 11 of those guys. You see what I'm saying? You can't outrun the defensive end like you could in college. You can't look off a safety because they know more than you do. I mean, it takes some time. It's the hardest position, I would argue, in sports. And so I think it's a great thing that a veteran who's a decent quarterback, I don't think he's an A quarterback, but he's a B quarterback, and get it done. And it's going to depend on our line. It's going to depend on us running the football. I mean, we've got a lot of holes. Quarterback is certainly one of them, but and our defense is going to depend on whether we can cover. So there are a lot of factors. That's what I love about football. It is the ultimate team sport where you've got to win in 3 phases. You've got to win on special teams, you've got to win defensively, and you've got to win offensively. And if you blow any one of those 3 aspects, you're not going to win the ball game. Your defense can play well, your offense can play well, but if you're giving up punt returns and kick returns and your field goal kicker can't make a 45-yard field goal, you're going to lose, no matter how well your defense and your offense plays. You kick the ball off and the guy runs back a 40-yard punt and they're on the 30, 35-yard line to start their drive, you're screwed. That's an automatic 3 points right there, and they're probably going to score a touchdown. So you've got to win on all 3 phases. So it's not just simply about the quarterback. Yes, it's the most important position on the field. Yes, you can't win with a bad quarterback, but Kirk Cousins isn't a bad quarterback. He's a capable cat. And if we got guys that can catch, saw Michael Bowers just got engaged to not Michael Bowers. What's our tight end's name?
Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers just got engaged to his high school sweetheart, so we've got him signed. He's happy. We've got some guys. We just drafted a wide receiver. Like I've said from the get-go, I'm 9-8, and I'm running through the streets naked. 9 and 8, I'm a happy black man. So let's just relax on Mr. Mendoza. He's got a long, long career ahead of him. What else you got?
Does the judge think anything Trump does is bad? Epstein files buried is great.
Well, I don't think that's fair. She's a judge. I disagree with her on mail-in ballots. I didn't want to bet her because she hasn't paid off our Luigi's bet yet, since she can't come out of the house. But I could dress her up where she could come out in the day. Dress her out like a Sikh. Just cover her up. I don't know what's wrong with that. But one more and let's take a break.
Ralph, you were so wrong on the Fauci argument, and you are way wrong on the voting integrity, too. I'm looking forward to hearing you have to admit it, kind of like on the Fauci lies you supported.
What Fauci lies that I supported? That I supported vaccinations? How is that a Fauci lie? I never said that the disease did not come from the Wuhan lab. I never said that. I was pro-vaccinations, and I'm still pro-vaccination. So you can have pleasure in saying that I'm wrong. And what else was I wrong about?
Voting integrity.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You people are something. So the whole thing's rigged. Then how the hell did Trump win? If the thing is rigged, do you know the Democrats would cut off their left arm if they could keep Donald Trump out of the White House? They would cut off their left arm. If God came down and went to Hakeem Jeffries and said, Hakeem, I got to take your left arm, but I'll take Trump with me, Hakeem would say, take it. And you all are telling me, or you specifically are telling me, that they've got this mechanism, that there's voter fraud, massive voter fraud, but they just didn't use it in 24, and they won the House, the Senate, and the presidency. But there's fraud. And the one time that he did lose, he was in charge of the federal government. But there's massive fraud that's changing elections. And you can't wait till I'm proven wrong. Give me a break with your stupidity. Good God almighty. Sometimes I think you people just say stupid things just to get me riled up. And I appreciate it because it makes good radio. It's better than me sitting here and mumbling, just kind of talking like this all after. And don't you see what you're doing to a democracy? Don't you see what you're doing to disengage people? If you're going to tell people there's voter fraud, they're not going to vote. It's the foundation of our democracy, and you all are trying to deteriorate it with this stupidity. Do you vote? You that said that there's voter fraud, you vote, I'm assuming? Why? There's voter fraud. Why are you voting? It's rigged. You're an idiot. You're wasting your time. It's all rigged. It's all selected. And then you make up some lie that I supported Fauci's story about the Wuhan lab just because I'm pro-vaccination and still am? Morons. Quick timeout. Headed toward the 5. Talking about Eagles at the top of the hour. Head up to Big Bear and talk with our good friend Jenny Voisin. And Kyle Shanahan has admitted that his automobile accident that almost took his eye, according to Chris Sims, broken ribs, concussion, claims it was his fault. Said he dropped his phone. I don't know why he would incriminate himself. His lawyer must be pulling his hair out of his head. Shut up, coach. Be quiet. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's TRBS. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio. News Talk.
Matt Becker.
ERN. First Look with Scott Cox. Morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we're going to talk a little Botox with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. I'm not kidding. Rick Kreiser will be here from the Guitar Master series. No news quiz because John Cox is off sleeping in a culvert someplace, but we will have news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
One of the big components of this radio broadcast is our good friend Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Daniel is one of our more entertaining regulars. We talk about gold, silver, the deficit. And of course, you know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. So if you're over 50, you need to start thinking about it and start thinking beyond just a 401k and certainly beyond Social Security. And as I've tried to tell you guys, the smartest financial move I ever made was about a decade ago when I became a client at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Call Daniel today at 395-9400, 395-9400. And as I always remind you, his office is located right on the corner of 21st and Oak. And he joins us every Thursday at 4:30. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Everyone has goals. Maybe it's feeling more confident in your smile, or maybe it's simply finding a dentist you can trust. Let me tell you about my dentist, Dr. Mike Sagarian. For more than 13 years, Dr. Mike Sagarian and his staff at Columbus Family Dentistry and Rosetown Family Dentistry in Wasco have been helping families throughout Kern County achieve healthier, more confident smiles. Whether you're interested in professional teeth whitening, crowns, fillings, dentures, or just routine dental care, you'll receive expert treatment with the latest technology and the personal connection you deserve. Best of all, they accept most insurance plans, making quality dental care convenient and accessible to your family. Schedule your appointment today at Columbus Family Dentistry or Rosetown Family Dentistry and experience the difference personalized expert care can make. You can call 322-1300 in Bakersfield or 758-5338 in Wasco or Shafter. You can also log to bakersfielddentaloffice.com for more information.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his long-standing and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Must have been an angel by my side. To you, in the sun, it's the power of love. It must have been an angel by my side. To you.
842-537-6842-KERN. Picking up the mic. Moving over to the chat room. I see a bunch of people saying things in the chat room. Let's start with Stella. Hang on a second, Stella. Where am I? Hang on. I gotta read. Oh, and good. They're all dirty. That's outstanding. Stella writes, of all the things you fixate on, Ralph. Fixate? Please do not stop speaking out on the Genesis Mata case until her parents are put away for life and CBS is restructured and prevents this from ever happening. Amen, Stella. I am not going to stop banging it. Patrick says, I think he is working on a third term. Well, did you see the White House press correspondence dinner? Part of his joke was he insisted that he was running in 28. He pulled out Trump in 28 hat. Like they're actually manufacturing hats that say Trump in 2028. I think he just might try to run. I don't think he's going to stay in the White House, but I think they're going to try to challenge the courts and let the court decide whether constitutionally he could run again. I have a funky feeling about that, but what do I know? According to many of you, not much, I suppose. Anthony Bryan says, I had no idea about this. Archaeologists and cultural critics condemned using rare, culturally significant historical artifacts as red carpet accessories to promote a Hollywood movie. What the Sam Hill are you talking about? Why are we litigating masks and shots? That is a great question. Because that wasn't really the question. The question of the day is whether Fauci lied. It was just a caller that wanted to take a kidney shot at me because I got so trampled on because I was pro-vax. And this community was very anti-vax. And they started going after my sponsors. And it was an ugly period in my life, all because I was for vaccinations. Isn't that crazy? What are you going to do? It's a funny business I have found myself in. Are people upset because culturally she was not the same color as her character Athena would have been? Who played Athena? She didn't play Athena.
Zendaya.
Oh, Zendaya played it. That's right.
See, but that's my argument. Is everybody is so upset about the lady who played Helen of Troy, and she's only in maybe 2 minutes of the movie and has nothing to do with it at all, really.
Yeah.
But nobody's crying that Zendaya, another black woman, is playing Athena, the goddess of wisdom, throughout the entire movie.
Well, that could be, that black thing.
Oh.
She's light skinned,
right?
And Lupita is very dark skinned,
right?
That's what that's about. Because in the 2 hours that I saw, maybe she plays a bigger role in the first hour that I missed, but Zendaya's not in the film that much.
She's following him around, from what I understand, but she's in more than the lady who's playing Helen of Troy.
In the 2 hours that I saw, Zendaya pops up maybe 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And in very, very short, where it's almost as if Chris Nolan, this is just me using my film studies at Cal State. That was kind of a joke. Gary Bird, love you. Did you take Gary Bird?
I didn't. I didn't get to take it at Cal State, unfortunately.
Yeah, Gary Bird. Was he there when you were there?
I think so.
Great.
The name
dude.
sounds very familiar.
Great dude. Great dude. Dude helped me get on television. Remember what we were talking about, so I can go back to it. But it's a great story. So I get fired from the Californian, and Ron Feynman talks to me and says, do you think you can do television? And I'm like, of course, I can do television. Anybody can do television. I don't know what to do. So I go to Gary. I got to make a tape. And I go to Gary Bird. I go back to Cal State, and I go, Gary, I got an audition. I got an interview, and I want to make a tape. And he says, all right, what do you want me to do? I said, well, can you shoot it for me? And I'll just read some stuff. I just need something to show that I can read and that I can express. I says, okay. So we went down to his office, and I got a newspaper, and I highlighted a couple of leads, and I read them as I wasn't trying not to be an anchor. I was just trying to be a story. And he shot this thing from my head up. And when you listen to it, if you were paying attention, you could hear me turn the pages of the newspaper. Like you could hear me. Meantime, in other stories, and it was just kind of funny. And that was the tape that I used. That I think Mr. Feynman had made his mind up that he was going to hire me. I don't think he hired me based on that tape that Gary and I made. But it was just cool that Gary helped me out with that. I loved me some Gary Bird. I really did. Great. One He and Andy Alali were my two favorite professors.
I know Alali was there.
And Stafford Betty, who still writes for the paper, he writes community, but got to meet my dad. In fact, his son and my nephew were really good friends, and they played baseball and basketball together. Sam Stafford was a really good athlete, as was my nephew. Hang on, there's some more coming in here. I see what you did there. Just need to talk about how voting machines are rigged. I don't know what that means. Ralph texted during half of Terry's segment. No, I was actually reading the case in the New York Times is what I was doing. I was not. How do you people just make conclusions? Like, you have no idea what I was doing. I was reading the New York Times story about mail-in ballots. I was not texting. But you can just say that, like, categorically, like, you know? Like, how can you do that? I just don't understand. I don't know. Life escapes me. Just how somebody could look at somebody and just, oh, I know what he's doing. He's texting. No, I wasn't. And since she's not in the room, I wasn't being rude. I was listening to her. But you people are just so hard to please. It's just. When is Monday, Chris? How far are we? 3 more days after tonight? You know, I almost canceled my vacation, and now I'm just so happy I'm not going to be here next week. I don't know what to do.
Oh, you'll enjoy it.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm getting out of this heat. It's going to be 107 Monday. Not where I am. From where I understand, it's going to be about 87 degrees where I'm going to be. As you all swelter. Melting. We are headed to Big Bear. We're going to talk about Eagles with our good friend Jenny Voisin right after these important messages.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Peters in Washington. Funeral services were held at Washington's National Cathedral today for South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who died July 11th of a heart ailment. President Donald Trump eulogized Graham.
The son of South Carolina became one of the most important men in the most important country on earth. In a city where politicians often become jaded and cynical, Lindsey Graham never lost the old-fashioned American idealism that brought him to the highest levels of government and life. He took his duty seriously without taking himself too seriously. He was unwavering in his principles, but always willing to listen. He always wanted to listen. And one thing about Lindsey that we all know, he never quit.
Graham will be buried tomorrow in his native South Carolina. The shooting investigation at a Seattle food festival over the weekend continues.
Police in Seattle are releasing details of the weapon they say was used by a teenager accused of killing 3 people at a local food festival. Police Chief Sean Barnes says the 15-year-old had a ghost gun
with an extended magazine that had a 33-round capacity. And when it was recovered, there were 19 rounds in the magazine.
Ghost guns are untraceable. They do not have serial numbers and are often bought without a background check. 2 other weapons were recovered. There were at least 3 suspects involved in the shootout at the crowded Bite of Seattle near the Space Needle. One of them was among those killed. Audio from ComoNews.com. I'm Ed Donahue.
The Senate has confirmed Jay Clayton to become head of the nation's intelligence agencies. The vote Tuesday puts a permanent director in the job weeks after President Donald Trump sought to delay his nomination. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 537 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic, could not believe it. would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did, they gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8924. 800-575-8924. That's 800-575-8924.
Stocks ended mixed today with the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
If you got to go, you better go now. I'm Chris Davis. That message is coming from Reddy Kern. People in the Caliente Bodfish Road and Bena Road area have been told that they need to evacuate, and that is because of a wildfire that is being called the Fish Fire, and that so far has burned about 1,800 acres in that area after splitting off and becoming two fires Monday, says CAL FIRE. That fire got started just before 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. CAL FIRE has not discussed the cause. If you are old enough, you may remember 48 years ago when this happened. The body of a teenager or young woman was found in a shallow grave in a vineyard in Arvin. Only a skeleton was found, and that person may have been dismembered. Her hair was auburn, and police say a pair of underwear was found nearby. They believe that the woman may have been dead for several months. Today, the Kern County Sheriff's Office is expected to give an update on that case. That'll be at 2 o'clock at their headquarters. So far, they have not let any clues slip out publicly about what they might say. It is not clear exactly what happened with a woman who ran off the road and hit several fixed objects yesterday on Highway 99 near the interchange with Highway 58. And that was just before 10 a.m. The Kern County Coroner's Office has identified the woman killed as 38-year-old Jacqueline Santiago of Lamont. Several days ago at Big Bear Lake, a now internet-famous eagle named Jackie got into a fight with two other eagles over a fish and was seriously hurt. Though she remains in critical condition, wildlife authorities say she is getting the best treatment, even having had a blood transfusion from another eagle, and that may be one of the rarest medical procedures for any bald eagle. Though her recovery is not guaranteed, she is doing better. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late, they start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 28th day of July. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live, kernradio.com, broadcasting live on YouTube. Still got lots to do in the final hour. We'll talk about Cal Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, who was in a horrific automobile accident, according to his buddy Chris Sims, the son of Phil Sims. Almost lost his eye in this accident, suffered a concussion, broken ribs, several broken bones. And the initial police report was that it was not his fault. Well, I'm sure much to the chagrin of his attorney, Kyle Shanahan came out at a press conference and said, no, it was my fault. I was on the phone. I dropped the phone and went down to pick it up. And the next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance. And I'm sure his lawyer was like, shut up. We don't have to self-incriminate ourselves. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll recap our top story of the day, the situation with Dr. Fauci, who's going to go before the Senate tomorrow. And I've got some other stuff we might talk about. There are 30,000 more North Koreans going to go fight in Ukraine for the Russians. Eesh, it's a horrible situation. But as most of you know, we've been following the life of our favorite couple, Jackie and Shadow, up at Big Bear. And it took a local turn when our California Living Museum helped Jackie out when she had some health issues. So we thought we would talk to our friend Jenny Voisard, who is the media manager for Friends of Big Bear Valley. And they've got some great news to share with us as well in terms of the future of where Jackie and Shadow live. Jenny, thanks for joining us once again.
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing extremely well. The real question is, how is Jackie doing?
Well, Jackie's made some improvements, and we're happy to hear that. She's been dealing with some anemia, and that's been her main issue. Something made her vulnerable to attacks from a couple eagles. They weren't able to injure her, but it really zapped her energy, and she wasn't able to fly away to safety, and that's what prompted her rescue. And we're so glad that she's at Ojai, and they're taking wonderful care of her.
So she was ill before the attack. I thought that maybe the attack is what brought on her ill health.
No, she actually didn't sustain any injuries from those eagles. She was able to fend them off. She had some pretty awesome maneuvers when they went after her, especially when she was on the ground. She would go on her back and she would grab their talons with her talons. And
yeah, that's the video. That's the video that I saw.
Or anything.
Yeah,
there were more videos than that, but yeah, she had something else going on.
And it was a pair of eagles. I didn't know that either.
Yes. Yeah, she's been contending with a few subadults that have been visiting the territory. There's other visiting eagles in the territory. That's what happens. Everybody's kind of fighting for habitat and space. And but something was going on with her first before the eagle attack.
Yeah. Is that common for eagles to fight like that?
Well, females can be more aggressive in certain situations, and that's why we think that the primary subadult that's been sort of Jackie's foe is likely a female. It's a little older. It's got some white on the head, so it's getting closer to maturity, though it's probably not old enough to mate or take over territory. But certainly the females and others, that's what they do when they reach maturity, is they're looking to be able to take it. And when eagles are young, they also will steal food until they really perfect their fishing.
Right.
So, of course, this is all nature. This is what happens. We just happen to see it because they're all around us now, because the population has been increasing and we're pretty urbanized at this point. So.
Any reason for the increase in the population?
Well, we've been doing all of the right things, so I hope we don't stop, but they still face a number of dangers. Anything from rodenticide to lead, fishing lines, and those kinds of things. But they're making a marvelous comeback based on the Endangered Species Act and all of the work that was done the last several 20, 30 years or more.
Yeah. And KTLA is reporting, at least this is what they told me, that the bird that the eagle that attacked Jackie is now hanging out with Shadow, but they did say, but we're not certain that they're mating or trying to hook up. But is that accurate, that the attacker is hanging out at Jackie's old haunt?
Yeah, the attacker keeps trying to hang out with Shadow, but Shadow doesn't really want anything to do with it. He's knocked it off the nest once to try to come around, and it's been trying to sleep by him, roost by him on the roost tree, and he gives it all his warning calls and all of that, and he's always gone in the morning. So he doesn't want anything to do with it. His hormones are not geared towards that other eagle at this moment.
Yeah. Will he, will Jackie return to the wild, do you think? Or is it obviously depending on her health, but what do you think?
It depends on her health. The goal is to release animals, raptors, to the wild if at all possible, to release them to their homes if they know where that is, and to certainly reunite mates if that's possible. So we hold out every last hope that Jackie and Shadow are going to be together again.
Yeah.
We just don't know, but we are being positive.
Yeah. And we had one of the representatives from the California Living Museum on earlier in the week talk about their role in her, recuperative process.
Jackie has been taken care of by so many wonderful angels and people, from the LA County San Dimas Rescue to Ojai, even the Fawnskin Firehouse. So we're just so grateful for everyone that's been giving her wonderful care and support.
Yeah. And didn't she get a transfusion from the Eagle here in Kern County at the California Living Museum?
Yes, she got a transfusion from an eagle named Spirit, which is very cool for people that have been following Jackie and Shadow, because they had an eaglet named Spirit a few years ago.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot to people, that the name of Spirit was the one that gave the transfusion.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a dumb question, but how do birds get a transfusion?
I don't know. We're not allowed to go into the rehab center, and we're not vets and everything. But
Right.
I will say that I think Jackie is probably getting better health care than anybody else in this country right now.
No kidding. No kidding. Do you envision a day when Jackie and Shadow will be back together?
I picture it and manifest it every single day.
Yeah.
But we just don't know. It's too early to predict. I will just tell everybody that it takes a long time to diagnose, rehab, and recover. And stress management is a big part of it. And they don't want to put Jackie in a situation where she's not going to make it. So they have to make sure that she's strong, that she can defend herself, and that she can defend her territory.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell them we're talking with Jenny Voisard. She is the media manager for Friends of Big Bear Valley, who've been monitoring and taking. How long have you guys been doing this?
Well, we've had the Nest camera installed since 2015, so this is our 10th year, but we have been a conservation organization going back 25 years, so since 2001.
Yeah. And tell them the good news in terms of the land up there.
Yes, so we just saved 63 acres, trees, birds, and everything in between. And we call it Real Estate for Wildlife. And we raised $10 million, which was the appraisal price, to purchase this land. And it is pretty much the last natural, undeveloped shoreline on the lake. And it's less than a mile from Jackie and Shadow's nest. And they've been trying to build on this land since the 80s.
Yeah.
And we finally, with a beautiful gift from Anna Brockman and her husband Greg, along with just the blood, sweat, and tears of the community, in 6 months, we raised $10 million.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That absolutely is amazing. And you got 63 acres for $10 million. That seems like a steal.
Well, I can tell you, it was not easy.
I bet. Should we know the Brockmans? Should we know them? Are they famous?
So Anna's husband, Greg, is one of the co-founders of OpenAI. They invented ChatGPT.
Wow.
Anna is a huge Jackie and Shadow fan. She loves watching the nest. She loves to connect with nature, chill out at the end of a very long day. She recognizes and is inspired by the huge community of people that love Jackie and Shadow. And she was very excited to be able to help and do something for them and preserve some habitat for them. It meant a ton to her.
Yeah.
And she is just an amazing individual and human. And I'm so just thrilled that she even reached out to us, but she's just amazing.
Yeah. Do they live up there?
No.
No? Okay. But they're just
Nope.
fascinated.
Nope. She is a Nest Cam watcher.
As we all are.
We all are.
I mean, we've got schools. We literally, and I'm sure you know of this because I'm sure we're not the only ones, but we've got schools that are monitoring this. We've got, I think, 2 of our television stations monitor them, and part of their morning show, just about every single morning, they show, the new eaglets that are still. In fact, I forgot to ask about that. Well, how are the two new births doing?
They're probably close to leaving the territory if they haven't already.
Yeah, I saw them on
they're
camera.
doing great.
I saw them on camera the other day. So
they're doing fabulous. They're fast movers. These two.
Yeah.
they're very good. They're flying around, perfecting their flying, and it was just so fun to have them back at the nest. You know, we had the little scare with Sandy falling down, but then she was able to fly out of it, and then Luna went right after, and so it was just amazing. And then they came back, and it was so fun. But we always get sad with an empty nest.
Yeah, yeah. It's where the term comes from. And of course, Sandy was named after your late colleague. Tell that story.
Yes. So we have a contest every year where the public gets to, with a small donation, enter a name, and then we do a random drawing, and we give a finalist list to the Big Bear third grade class, and cool. They select the names. And the top name from the public that even made it into the random drawing, and the top name from the students was Sandy, on behalf of our late executive director. And then the other was Luna, which means moon. So the fact that we were able to purchase the property, which was called Moon Camp, just makes it all perfect.
That is cool. That is outstanding. That really is. That really is.
It was meant to be.
I hate to end on a sour note, but as my producer will tell you, I'm wanting to do that for some weird reason. But let's just, for the theoretically or hypothetically, not theoretically, hypothetically, let's say that Jackie and Shadow don't get back together for whatever reason. What's the future for Shadow? Will he hook up with another eagle, or do they just grow old by themselves, kind of like what I'm doing?
Well, we don't know what's in Shadow's mind, and we can't predict the future. But what I can tell you is that Shadow was very specific and adamant about wanting to be here and wanting to be at this nest.
Yeah.
He ran out Mr. B, which was Jackie's mate prior to him. And he didn't do it in an aggressive way. He literally just patiently persisted, and the other eagle left. Yeah. So if that gives anybody any hope that Shadow's going to want to stick around to this area, that may be good. But nature is nature. We're always going to move forward. Bald eagles are resilient, and what's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
We'll still have our live stream cameras.
Good.
That we can watch and learn.
Yeah. Very, very popular. Is this nationwide, or is this just California? Do you get comments from all over the country?
The world.
Really? The world?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, eagles are fascinating animals. They really, really are. They truly, truly are. Always great to talk with you, Jenny. I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again sometime soon, I hope. It's always fun to talk with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
Jenny Boissard, the media manager for the Friends of Big Bear Valley. You know me, I'm a hopeless romantic. I hope we can get our favorite couple back together. I think they'll last longer than Travis and Taylor. I'll tell you that, boy.
You were riding that one.
I'm riding it. I got it wrong. They ended up getting married, but I just don't see it lasting. I just don't. But you know who I do see lasting? Tom and Zendaya are going to be Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward.
God, I hope you're right.
I can't see them breaking up. I just can't.
You seem like they're the best of friends and our biggest fans.
That's why I think they're going to make it.
Yeah.
Because they really seem like they really like each other.
There are a handful of celebrity relationships that I feel like are like that. Like Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, I feel are like that.
Yeah.
John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, I think are like that.
I agree. I love Krasinski.
Yes. Oh, he's awesome.
Have you ever heard the story he tells about when he was trying to visit her in England?
Yeah, and the guy gets mad.
So he comes to the border guy or whatever, the customs guy, and he asks him, "Why are you here?" And he says, "I'm here to see my wife. She's an actress." And the guy says, "Would I know her?" And he goes, "I don't know. Her name's Emily Blunt." And he goes, You are married to Emily Blunt? And Kaczynski's like, yeah. And the guy's like, you. Kaczynski's like, yes. And the guy's like, here, get going. Get out of here. Like, damn.
Ruined that man's day.
Damn. Quick timeout. Coming right back. We'll check the board, get to the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about Cal Shanahan, That's one of the miscellaneous audio that I'm going to play for you. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio News
Casey.
30 KERN. First Look with Scott Cox. Morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we're going to talk a little Botox with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. I'm not kidding. Rick Kreiser will be here from the Guitar Master series. No news quiz because John Cox is off sleeping in a culvert someplace, but we will have news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Very excited about my weekend. I'm taking a friend who's only been to Casey Steakhouse once, and they were there for an event, so they didn't even eat, but they liked the ambiance. And I said, wait till you get a hold of one of the best steaks you're ever going to have. And I'm going to turn them on to the Stockyard next door on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, where they have live music on Saturday. We have a lovely young woman named Lottie that plays. And, of course, Bobby and Jimmy are playing live music Tuesday through Saturday in the main restaurant. But again, the ambiance, the age, the restaurant's almost 90 years old, and no one could have ever believed that Cassie Biddle would take this restaurant to where it is now, advancing, adding on to it, just building up on the menu, where it's not just simply all about steaks. I told you about the lobster mac and cheese, the fish dishes, the chicken dishes, you name it. Chef Daniel's done an incredible job of expanding the menu. Where would you rather be than on F Street at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show?
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Before you hit the road for the holidays, make sure your car is ready for the journey. Kern Oil Change keeps your engine running smooth and your family safe. No appointments needed. Just drive in and their fast, friendly team will get you back on the road in minutes. Don't wait till you're stuck on the side of the road. Stop by Kern Oil Change today and travel with confidence this holiday season. Kern Oil Change has 2 locations to serve you, 3706 Coffee Road and 5651 Auburn Street. Kern Oil Change is open 7 days a week. Follow us on Instagram for additional savings.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Mary J. That was one of the actors' choices of albums that they would take, Mary J. Can you pull up that audio?
I'm working on it still.
All right. 842-5376-842-KERN. So Ruby Rippey, who is the wife of the former campaign manager for Gavin Newsom, is telling her story. She had an affair with Gavin Newsom at the early part of the century when he was mayor of San Francisco. And she talks about how it started and how he lied. And there's a shock because when he did confess, he came out in 2007 and confessed the whole thing because she told her husband, and her husband confronted Newsom. Now, see, that's the difference between white and black culture right there. He confronted Newsom. In my neighborhood, you sleeping with my wife, it's going to be a whole lot worse than that. And in some neighborhoods, it gets a whole lot worse than that. But I'd at least have to kick his ass. If you're sleeping with my wife, I'll do an assault charge. I don't mind, but I got to kick your ass. I'm sorry, and particularly if I don't know you, I'll let it go. But if you're my friend, if I'm working for you, and you're sleeping with my wife, yeah, we got to roll on the ground. You might whip my ass, but that's just an ass whooping I got to take. But we got to roll on the ground. I'm sorry, that's just me. Maybe I'm an idiot because I am an idiot because I almost went to jail this weekend when I almost forearm shivved a kid riding a bike at me. I was going to take him out. I really was, and just explain to the officer, what am I supposed to do? This kid's riding right at me and kind of laughing and giggling. I'm like, all right. Test me, brother. See if I don't knock your little ass down. Is this a common thing now where these kids are riding these packs?
No, they go at cars too.
And it's all in the Westchester area, apparently. It's crazy.
It's everywhere. It's been a thing for a while now. It's the same dumb kids that run through the mall on their bikes and all that type of stuff.
That is just nuts.
Just the new age kid gang thing.
Yeah.
Like, I want to call them a gang because obviously there's worse connotations to that. But
well, it was about the kids that I confronted. There were about maybe 16, 18 kids coming down the street. And it was two of them that kind of looked at me like, we're going to come after you, old man. And I just stopped and grabbed my position and said, come on. Because if that wheel touches me, I'm going to flip that bike and knock your ass out. And then call 911 and surrender to the cops. Quick timeout. We're heading into the back half of the hour. We're looking for some DUI, or I guess in that state, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it's OWI, of Tony Romo trying to negotiate with the cops, talking about, I want to call my attorney. Tony, you don't know how this works? Call your attorney. Dude, you're going to jail, Pop. Ain't nothing your attorney can say or do that's going to prevent you from being held for 8 hours in the Milwaukee police station. Quick timeout. More TRBS. I would stick around if I you.
Signed Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military says Iran has launched multiple ballistic missiles at American forces in the Middle East, shattering a brief pause in fighting as mediators tried to get both sides back to negotiations. All Iranian missiles were successfully intercepted on Tuesday. That's according to U.S. Central Command on social media. It says that U.S. forces remain vigilant and at a high state of readiness. President Trump remembers Senator Lindsey Graham as a giant of the United States Senate and a true American original. Trump joined foreign leaders, lawmakers, and others at a funeral service for Graham on Tuesday at Washington National Cathedral. On Wall Street, the Dow by 537 points, the Nasdaq dropped 55, the S&P 500 advanced by 15, oil down below $80 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're...
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. You can expect to hear an update from the Kern County Sheriff's Office today on a case that they have considered a cold case for many years. A young woman between 13 and 24 was found buried in a shallow grave in a vineyard in Arvin back in 1978, and her body had been there for several months. Though it was unclear exactly how she died because her remains were skeletal, it was apparent she had been murdered. That update is at 2 this afternoon. Evacuations are happening at Caliante Bodfish Road and Bena Road in Caliante because of a fire that has so far burned more than 1,800 acres. That fire got started yesterday afternoon and is now being called the Fish Fire. Reddy Kern says you should be prepared to go if you are told. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Maxwell in the morning. Good till the last mic drop.
Federal appeals court ruled the New Jersey's assault weapon law barring possession of a semi-automatic rifle is unconstitutional. The first time a federal appeals court has ruled that a state's assault weapons ban violated the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, so this could be a huge one for here in California. Things could be changing for us gun owners.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
What you won't do for love. You try everything, but don't give up. In my world, only you. That was kind of close. No? My friends, what? Cut it off.
So good, we had to cut off the music.
Yeah, sure. 842-537-6842-KRN. Let me check back in here in the chat room. I see some more names in here. Why are we real? I read that one. Are people upset because culturally she was not the same color as her character Athena would have been? Yes, is the answer to that. I read that. Hello, everybody, says Mr. Chavez. I see what you did there. Just need to talk about how voting machines are rigged. I think I read that one. Ralph, Texas, I read that one as well. That was in reference to you mumbling and being monotone, very exciting radio. I don't know what the hell it means, but
oh, cool.
You got that Tony Romo audio? As you guys, I think some of you know, CBS commentator Tony Romo was making just tons and tons and tons of money. Got caught coming from the golf course and had a couple pops on the 19th hole and got popped himself. Here's some of the audio between he and the, I guess he was in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee police officer, the female officer that was involved. Just a little eavesdropping.
Passing on the right, the lane deviation.
I'm sorry.
Unsafe passing on the right, cutting across the car. Obviously, the car?
Yes.
It's the marked area.
Gotcha.
Where are you coming from?
Well, I live in Dallas, so I came to visit Grandpa, so we're here. I'm going to do that, but I got the gore.
You got the what?
The gore, you said?
Yeah.
That's what it is for you, cross it?
Yep.
Yes. I got what you're saying.
And you were coming from Grandma and Grandpa? What did you say? It's really hard to hear you, dude.
I can't hear you either. I'm
I
sorry.
know. We got to basically yell at each other,
I
right?
feel like I'm yelling at you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Where are you coming from?
The golf course. And I'm going to meet Grandma and Grandpa.
Okay. All right. I'll take the driver's license from you.
You got it. What's your name?
Deputy Court.
So I want to meet Grandma and Grandpa, and I passed the gore, which is the place you're talking about right in the drive over. I got it. You're saying I went over the white line.
What's a good phone number for you?
Damn.
8675309.
Yeah, no kidding. Is that it?
It's my dad's.
All right. What's your dad's same last name?
So I got the same thing.
Okay, all right. Hang tight for me. All right. How many drinks have you had? You're coming from a golf course?
I played in the golf tournament at the Wisconsin State Amateur.
Okay.
So it's like a USGA.
Okay, all right. I'm going to run you through some fields. Field sobriety test. Are you willing to take any field sobriety test? I'm sorry? Yes, you're denying the step out of the vehicle pending field? Okay, step out of the vehicle.
He's asking.
Nope, step out of the vehicle.
He's asking to call his lawyer.
Step out of the vehicle. Field sobriety test. You're not. Nope, step out of the vehicle. I'll take an additional 1017. He's not stepping out of the vehicle for field.
I'll do it. I'm just saying that I'm not allowed to call my lawyer.
Operating while
He's so lucky he's a celebrity. So lucky he's a celebrity. I wish I would get stopped, or you got stopped, or anybody that's listening to my voice got stopped and refused to get out of a vehicle with a police officer. They will literally drag your sorry ass. You have just, that's obstruction. You've just denied a lawful order. That's like a cop. If a cop tells you to come over here and you don't come over here, they can throw your ass in jail. I don't know if this woman knew who he was. I mean, obviously she saw his identification. She knows he's Tony Romo, but I'm not certain she knows who Tony. This is Texas. Obviously she knows who he is, but this is Wisconsin apparently. And he's so you see how this is what I hate about law enforcement, because if that's anybody else, she would have demanded, I will tase you if you don't get your sorry ass out of that vehicle. What do you mean you're not getting out of the vehicle? Like, you can refuse to take the field sobriety test and it'll suspend your license for like a year, and it ain't going to make the judge very happy when he has to sentence your ass. But when a law enforcement officer tells you to get out of the vehicle, you better get out of the vehicle. And I don't understand this is Tony Romo. Even I knew when I got into trouble, once you're in trouble with the cop, let me give you some really good advice. It's master the obvious advice, but apparently Mr. Romo doesn't understand. Once you're stopped by the cops, you better do every single thing they say. And I learned that in 9th grade from Ralph Emerson Bailey Sr. He said, if you ever have trouble with the police officer, you do everything they say, and we'll deal with it later. We'll get an attorney, Tony, later, and we'll deal with it. But for Tony Romo, an intelligent, grown-ass man, to sit there and be like, can I call my lawyer? No, you can't call your lawyer. What's your lawyer going to do? Going to advise you not to take the field sobriety test, which is stupid. Not to take a breathalyzer. I guess as a celebrity, he didn't want to take a breathalyzer because he didn't want that reported. If it comes out he blew like a 2.4, he doesn't want that known. And, for a guy that makes tens of millions of dollars, not having his license for a year really ain't that big a deal. The question is, what does the Columbia Broadcasting System do? What does CBS do? And in this era, can you really just welcome him back to work after doing something so incredibly stupid? Chris mentioned Mark Sanchez, and it's certainly not on a Mark Sanchez level, but I don't know. I can't think of any. Can you think of any broadcasters that got into any kind of trouble and how they deal with it? Was Shannon Sharp in a little bit of trouble about something at some point?
Yeah, that was female stuff, though, I think. Him with a female, I should say.
Yeah.
DUI or an OWI in this case, I can't think of
I
anybody.
can't think of anybody either.
Again, like I was reading that Dan Lebitard was talking about them potentially moving on from Romo as well from this, but I think because the season hasn't started yet and there's still some time for them to kind of sweep this under the rug, they may just say meh, but we'll see.
And they may just say we could get out from under a very large contract.
Yes, that's very
and there
true.
are a lot of ex-pros out there, like the first one that comes to mind,
Ryan Clark,
Jason Kelsey.
Oh.
There are a lot of recently retired guys out there that could fill in quite nicely, and you could get them for a steal. Because hang on a second. Hey Siri, what's Tony Romo's salary?
Tony Romo's salary was $20.8 million.
20.8 million. You see what I'm saying? They could get Jason for a song. They could get Jason for $10 million. They're paying him 20. So what are they paying Vance? Or Nance? Nance. I don't know. That's a whole different contract because he does a lot of different other things. He does golf. He does tennis. He does a lot of different things.
Anybody coming in with the name recognition of a Jason Kelsey would require you to pay him the same amount of money you paid Tony.
True that. They're not going to take a pay cut under Tony. You're probably right.
If you go with a guy like, I don't know, Cam Newton or somebody who just got fired from ESPN, maybe you can get him for 5 to 10. But again, I really don't know exactly how these guys' agents work.
Or maybe you're right. Maybe Ryan Clark, although Ryan Clark doesn't have any play-by-play experience.
No.
Do you know why? I just realized this. Somebody mentioned this to me. My buddy mentioned this to me. The reason that Ryan Clark sounds like an idiot. Ryan Clark got fired from ESPN because one of the main reasons is because he attacked a reporter on the basis that they never played the game.
Multiple times.
Do you know who never played football? And I just found this out this week.
What way? I'm sorry, we're talking about ESPN pundits, right?
No, we're talking about one of the greatest football minds that ever lived.
Boomer?
Think beyond players. One of the greatest football minds that ever lived. And I'm telling you who it is. So put that together as a clue.
Which means it has to be somebody in the Jimmy. No,
Al Davis. Never played football.
True.
And is considered one of the greatest minds, one of the greatest talent assessors. He's the reason that the AFL and the NFL got to AFC and the NFC, or the AFL and the NFL got together. He put the Raiders together. He put together the San Diego Chargers when he was down there with Sid Gilman. He's considered, isn't that fair to say, one of the greatest minds in the game? Never played football. Never played football.
Jerry
Jones.
Sorry.
Jerry Jones. Yeah, he played with Jimmy at Oklahoma.
Oh, you're right.
University of Oklahoma. Right, yeah. They were on the same national championship team together. Yeah, Jerry. That's why Jerry thinks he's a coach.
Yeah.
Because he thinks, I played just like everybody else. Not really, Jerry. Not really. But I feel sorry for Tony. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think in this era, in this, point in history, you can just welcome a guy back who did that. I think maybe a suspension. I don't think they'd get off of his contract. But I think you got to, I just don't think you can open up the season and just pretend like it didn't happen.
Right.
I don't know.
You're right. In today's day, everybody's going to see this video that we just played.
Exactly.
Everybody's going to see what he looks like. The only thing I'm finding weird, because I continued watching it after we stopped.
Yeah.
She says she's pulling him out for field sobriety, but doesn't give him a test at all.
Because he refused it.
Yeah.
He refused to take the test.
No, he said he was going to do it. He even turns around and says, I thought you were going to, take me through the field sobriety. And she says, well, we're not on an even ground right now. We're on a bridge, so I need to move you to a different location. And then just has him turn around and puts him in cuffs.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I'll show it to you during the break. But that's what I was finding weird. It's like, where's the field sobriety test?
Right. That's crazy. Well, you can be, got enough gas to drive home. Yeah, it's my understanding that they can arrest you based on their observations.
Right. They have to have some sort of proof that you were intoxicated. But I would assume a breath.
No, but they
alone-
don't necessarily have to give you a field sobriety test to
No,
arrest
you're
you.
absolutely right. If there's like smelling of alcohol and all that type of stuff,
and glassy eyes. And
which honestly, I'm assuming he does have.
So she never gave him a test.
I really know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Poor guy. Poor guy. And of course, the local media is pouring over Ed Jagel's situation, which, you know, he's 77 years old. What I don't understand is, and maybe he's had an old Tesla, but I understand he had a Tesla. And I just found out, and I'm an idiot. I just found out because our general manager has a Tesla and she doesn't drive. She hits a button and it drives her home.
Yep.
She drives like that on the freeway. I'm like, Katie, you need to knock that off.
Oh no, these things
you need
are,
to get a 10 and 2.
I say the same thing, but the Tesla is probably the only car I actually would trust it.
So why didn't Ed just say, put it in home and take me home and wake up in his driveway?
Look at me.
I'm hoping it was an old Tesla, and that's the reason why. Because if he has a new Tesla and he just didn't say, just drive me home.
But see, okay.
Because he initially screwed up before the cops got to him.
True.
He hit like a middle divider, center divider or something before.
He was clearly controlling the car. But
clearly.
That's my question though, is that if you are drunk and you have one of these cars that could drive you home and you just get in and press the button and it drives you home,
is that drunk driving?
Still? Is not drinking and driving still?
Now that is a great question. If you're stopped, because let's say your tags are expired, but you're not driving badly because the car is driving
itself,
and he pulls up and you smell like booze, are you going to jail? I'm guessing the answer is yes.
I would think so.
I'll text Teresa Goldner, but I'm pretty sure the answer would be yes. Because they can pop you. You don't even have to be driving.
No, as long as the
you
keys are in the ignition.
The keys are in the ignition and you are in the car, they can, because I almost went to jail for that. I was sitting in my car and I was waiting for a cab. And he said, well, you can still go to jail, Mr. Bailey. And I said, no, he said, where are your keys? He said, turn the car off. And I said, I got the keys in my pocket. What do you mean turn the car off? And he was like, oh, all right, well, then I'll let you. And he let me stay. I could have gone to jail had the keys been in the ignition, but I was just sitting in the car and the keys were in my pocket. Thank you, Jesus. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the night. Tomorrow's Wednesday. The Van Alstynes, Jennifer and Ryan, join us. No one from Bakersfield College tomorrow. They're on vacation as they get set to almost begin the fall semester out at BC. I feel bad. I mean, I'm going to call the theater manager because I didn't go to the play because I had gout that Sunday.
Oh.
I didn't make it. Did Daisy go?
I have no idea.
I hope she went. I hope we all didn't get free tickets and just blew it off. I just couldn't go because I was suffering from a gout bout. Feels so good to be able to walk now. Quick time out. Scott Jennings, keep it locked at the top of the hour. In the meantime, this is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh. You ready? 3, 2. I don't care if leaders cheat on their wives. That's their own business. But with Newsom, this is a matter of judgment. Not only did he sleep with his best friend's wife, but it was his campaign manager, and she worked for him. This guy can't come anywhere near the White House. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. We will talk to the folks that provide our IT from Adaptive Networks, Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne. We'll see what Dr. Fauci has to say before a Senate committee. All of that plus me at 3. It's TRBS right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
You've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really help me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-505-4326. 800-505-4326. 800-505-4326. And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise. That could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Did you know termites can silently feast on your home for 3 to 4 years before you see any damage? They can literally eat a bedroom wall in less than 2 years, causing major structural damage to your biggest investment. Don't wait for the evidence to appear. Ryan's Termite is running an early bird special. If you know or even suspect that you have termites, get on Ryan's schedule now for an additional 10% off our already lowest price. All work is guaranteed. There's no money down and no contracts. Plus, in most cases, you won't even have to move or tent your house. Protect your home and save. Call Ryan's today. That's Ryan'sTermiteControl.com.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
We've got another high-speed chase going on in LA, and the guy's got a gun, so this isn't going to end well for him at all. And it's amazing how open the traffic is on a, Tuesday afternoon in LA? I don't know if they've cleared the traffic, but it's like there's nobody on the freeway. Or maybe they're all pulling to the side. I don't know. I can't see whether that's a 405 or not, but it looks like it does kind of look like a 405. In the meantime, we got a couple of minutes left. Let's read a couple of text messages, get the Samuel out of here.
Taylor and Travis, yuck. I agree with you.
I mean, there's nothing. Why would you yuck? They're a beautiful young couple. He's a good-looking dude. She's a beautiful woman. She's a billionaire. He's a multimillionaire. I just don't think he's smart enough for her. I think that in a relationship, the intelligence level has to be pretty paralleled. You know what I'm saying? You can't have one person be smarter than the other. And I think she's much more brilliant than she is. I think Jason is much smarter than Travis. I just think he's kind of a knucklehead. And now this guy's running into traffic. Oh, this is great. Why are these people letting him through? I would stop my car. Hit me. How does insurance handle it? Anyway, what else you got?
You have to pay extra for a full autopilot Tesla.
Well, apparently our general manager can afford it because she's got one, and it's just crazy to me. See how they box him in right there? Stop your car. Don't let him get through. See, now why would they let him get through?
A lot of people don't know this is happening.
What's going on? They don't see the cops behind him? Or the cops give up? I don't see the cops in the shot. This guy, the helicopter's got him. This is another thing I don't understand. Why you would run from the police. Good Lord Almighty. What else you got?
Jones and Johnson played together at Arkansas. I forgot about that. And yes, because you're in control of the vehicle.
Okay. Did they play at Arkansas? Was it Arkansas?
It was Arkansas, yeah. I remember correctly, because Jerry talks about being a Razorback all the time.
I thought it was Oklahoma. What else you got?
Ralph, please stop saying that Newsom was sleeping with someone. It obviously wasn't sleeping. Saying sexual intercourse is allowed on the air.
Next. That's the dumbest text message we've ever gotten. Like, since when isn't sleeping with somebody not a euphemism for sex? And I don't know if you're aware of this, but parents have kids in their car, and I try to stay as, as appropriate as I possibly can be. But that's your problem with me, that I said that he was sleeping with her instead of that he was banging her, he was hitting it, he was spanking that ass, knocking the boots. Does that sound better for you? All right, that's going to do it for us. I want to thank Teresa Goldner. Despite her illness, she still came through for us. We'll talk with her again next week. And, of course, our good friend Howard Marcus and Jenny Voisard. I love her. She was on the Today Show the other day, kind enough to join us once again, talk about the Eagles. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, the Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, and we'll have the reaction from the supervisors on the probe or audit of our Child Protective Services. But in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I will rap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Peters in Washington. The Senate has confirmed Jay Clayton to become head of the nation's intelligence agencies. The vote Tuesday puts a permanent director in the job weeks after President Trump sought to delay his nomination. Clayton is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and a former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman. Washington paid tribute to the late South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham today. In services at both the U.S. Capitol and Washington's National Cathedral, Graham was eulogized as a great man. Senate Majority Leader John Thune tells mourners that the Capitol that Senator Graham took his work seriously.
He was serving as chair of the Budget Committee at the time of his death and was responsible for getting important tax relief legislation to the floor. And no tribute to Lindsey's work is complete without mentioning that he was a powerful voice for the pro-life movement.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were among the mourners attending the services. The mayor of New York City brushing off relatives of 9/11 families who are calling on him to be barred from attending the 25-year ceremony upcoming in September.
The families of 9/11 victims collecting more than 21,000 signatures so far on the petition website change.org. They're calling for the city's first Muslim mayor, Zoran Mamdani, to stay clear of the ceremony because of his associations with people who have minimized the radical Islamic terrorist attack. The mayor saying he will attend, telling a reporter, "I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside